Class, today we are going to be talking about things that rot your brain. Teacher, I hear the Rob Taylor report will rot my brain. Is that true? What a tool. Well, that's correct, Susie. If you listen to the Rob Taylor report, it will rot your brain. Therefore, you must dive under your desk, grab the back of your head, and do the duck and cover maneuver. Let's see this example. Mama, I want to watch the Rob Taylor report. Timmy, no! It's too late. You've been warned. Children should not watch the Rob Taylor report. Somebody please think of the children!
Good cracker is a dead cracker. Only 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 good cracker is a dead cracker.
And joining me tonight are 4 not so good crackers because they're all still alive and breathing, man. So I want to give you guys some warning. There are no dead crackers here. So, hey guys, how you all doing?
Excellent, my friend. Good to see you.
I'm doing okay. I'm a saltine cracker, by the way. A bit salty, perhaps.
Perry's kind of a graham cracker. He's got a tan there because he works outdoors. I think he's...
I'm a Ritz. Very buttery.
Very buttery. I like that.
Nothing I like better than race baiting to start a show.
Isn't it? I thought we would just go there right from the start because I knew eventually we'll end up there. But to be honest with you, we have some really good stuff to talk about tonight. And I want to start off with Mr. Doug Washington, the man, the myth himself, because he's been having some interesting issues with a new, believe it or not, a new local registered sex offender now. And
yeah,
so
or soon to be registered, I guess. He's still on the streets, apparently. Like, he hasn't had to go in yet to for his incarceration. I guess they gave him some time. So, I don't talk like this often, and I apologize to my viewers that are going to be horrified by this. But this piece of shit was fucking dogs and trading child pornography. That's, I don't know any other way. And I've been talking with friends the past few days, like, do we say humping? Do we say fornicate? And it's really, there's no other way to describe. There's nothing as explicit as that to describe what this guy was doing. I've spent time away from home. I've been out in the field for months at a time and longer. I've at no point in my life have I ever thought, that St. Bernard looks good. This guy was raising, this is the guy in our community. He was raising dogs. He's been charged with bestiality. And I've really been getting this a lot of thought the past little while. You've got pedophilia, which, I mean, that's just the norm here now. I mean, nobody even bats an eye anymore. We have somebody, you have pedophilia, you have bestiality, and you have necrophilia. And I think that is like the 3 of the worst sins and crimes you can commit. A guy commits murder, a crime of passion, whatever. A guy embezzles $100 million from the port of Coos Bay. Not that they have it, but if they did, all these different things. And we were going through like the mental exercises of what can a guy do that's really, really bad that you can't forgive? You know what it is? Fucking a dog and trading in child porn. Those are the things you can't forgive. Yep. There is no forgiving. There is no coming back from that. And I won't talk like that anymore, but I really had to be as explicit as possible because there is no other way to describe it and make it sound as vile as it is.
I'll show the documents here, but I want to show the guy's face. I'm sure I'm going to probably get threatened to get sued here. This is something that I don't give a shit about because I'm with you, Rob. This is nothing, no lower of a thing can you do. The child pornography, I mean, damn. I mean, that's the worst of the worst, but then you throw in the whole dog screwing mess. That's just really
yes. How do you get worse than child porn? And it's like, oh, well, you throw this in the mix. Yeah. This is a new one for our community. Let me put it this way. This is a new one that's been caught in our community because rest assured, he's not the only one. This didn't happen in a vacuum. A lot of the charges, a lot of the documents, things, there's a lot of redaction. There's a lot of stuff going on. There was a lot more. And this has been going on for years. So I was tipped off to this quite some time ago, but I had nothing. I couldn't talk about it. I could, but I would be going purely on speculation and hearsay. But someone had tipped me off like, hey, this is going on. There's a thing. I don't fully understand what's going on, but there's this thing going on with this guy that's well known, Kyle Cox of Tar Heel Aluminum and Edge Marine Boats. And I was like, really? Like, are you sure? I looked online. I looked around. I couldn't find anything anywhere until recently.
Right.
Perry had some great documentation he was able to share with me. He was able to get the original documents or copies of. And that gal that on one of the local, I don't know what page it was, one of the Coos County pages, had posted it. Not only that, other people are coming out of the woodwork now and saying like, oh yeah, no, he molested me. Yeah, he pulled me over while I was hitchhiking and he asked me to do X, Y, and Z to him for a ride. Like, this is a disgusting human being with children.
Oh, wow. That's even worse. And you had it's like some guy complaining because he's been accused of being an incestual, homosexual necrophiliac because he fucked his dead brother and then getting upset about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, give me a break, man.
Yeah.
Marty's still trying to process that. I'm sorry.
And he's only being charged for one incident, and he admitted that he'd been doing it for years.
Well, and it's interesting, Perry, because they were able to find evidence going back to 2021. So his testimony now is, well, I started it in 2020, just a little bit before you guys were to find this documentation. Well, that's not true. We know that. I mean, we know we don't need empirical data. We don't need speculative data. I mean, we're not stupid human beings. We know that's not true. This has been going on for a long time. He also admitted to destruction of evidence. When the FBI said, hey, come in for an interview, he admitted to throwing away a cell phone or electronic device in the bay, or he called it the ocean, to get rid of it. And that's where he had most of his stuff, most of his deviance. There's a lot of pieces of this puzzle that don't really fit together.
No, because like you said, he destroyed evidence, and he's caught late in the picture of this. Because I'm almost willing to bet he had children. He had sent one picture of his own child, even though they were clothed. That to me says or implies there was much, much more going on that they haven't dug up or was destroyed with that phone that he threw in the ocean.
And then he was claiming, like somehow as a defense mechanism, or it's not that bad. He claimed that this woman that he was having an online affair with had encouraged him to send doggy porn.
Right.
Now,
like that makes it better.
Yeah, well, and no woman does that. No woman it's like guys sending pictures of their schlong. No chick just goes on whatever dating app and says, "Hey, send me a picture of your wiener." No, these guys go and do it on their own. He did it on his own, or it was a cop, or it was a Fed that he was talking to. And this thing has been going on. It's part of a much larger operation that goes nationwide, which it very well could be. But the pictures don't line up. The data doesn't line up. But what does line up is that we know he's a deviant, evil human being. And you only got 4.25 years. And like Perry said, like basically one charge of bestiality, one charge of possession of child pornography, child sexual material, but it was 150. It was over 150 images that they were able to find.
Right.
And that's not including all the stuff that he threw away. But if you ask his wife, he's a good man, and he's going to whacking off to Dog Porn Anonymous, and he's doing all this other stuff now, and he's a good guy, and his kids are dependent on him. I was talking with a buddy, another local gentleman, the other day, and this is the talk in circles, because Edge Marine Boats is a very well-known, was a very well-respected company. Started out of Roseburg, had nothing to do with the gentleman there. He sold it to Kyle Cox, interesting last name. And my buddy had said, my wife and I were talking about it, and I said to her, if I ever did something like this, and then you went and defended me and said that you still want me around the kids, that would make you the biggest piece of garbage I've ever met. Another friend of mine says, you know what? He goes, if I woke up in the morning and I had a proclivity or a thought to hump a dog, he goes, I would blow my brains out. I wouldn't tell anybody. I'd just go in the backyard and blow my brains out.
Right.
Who has those thoughts? Everybody has a deviance. Everybody has a proclivity. Everybody has human beings are human beings. Right. But there are lines that never in my roughly 32 years of life have I ever thought about such a thing, wanted to seek out pictures of such a thing, wanted to engage in it, or even have a conversation about it. And now here we are. It is one of the most repulsive things. And you go biblically, you go scripturally, you go anthropologically, you go biologically, you look at any of the ologies. It is evil and reprehensible. It doesn't matter how you look at it. Psychologically, it is evil and reprehensible. And I've got people that are like, well, he's a good man and he's asked for forgiveness. And there's forgiveness you can give, all right. There's one type of forgiveness you can give. Have him make peace and then go away and not come back again, because he will reoffend. He will.
You know, that was the thing that I was against the death penalty. I'm anti-government in a lot of things, and for many years I was against the death penalty. And over the years, probably since I turned 30 and the older I got, I just now I'm so pro death penalty. I want to throw the switch. You know what I mean? I want to videotape it, put it on YouTube, and that's how messed up I guess I've gotten to this point when I see so many crimes like this being committed and these guys going to jail for long periods, and now we're seeing these guys, some of them are actually being let out by the governors, the liberal governors of different states, and they're starting to pass laws where they can get probation if they committed their crime when they were of a certain age. I don't care if you're dog fucking and sending child porn anywhere and you're over the age of 18, you should go away for a long damn time.
In California, they passed a law in California, and it's Senator Weiner, oddly enough, another apt name, I guess.
Right.
They passed a law that if you had consensual sex with somebody that was in 10 years of your age range, it's no longer pedophilia. So if you're 21 and you're banging an 11-year-old, you're okay.
Oh my God.
They won't even charge you for that. And that was written into law in California. How long until we get that here in Oregon? Because, I mean, like you said, it's biblically bad. I mean, I've known a lot of freaky people in my life, but nobody that's doing kids and nobody that's doing animals.
Right.
And it's like, you know, and like you said, there's Alcoholics Anonymous, there's Narcotics Anonymous, there's Sex Anonymous. But I don't know of like Dog Banging Anonymous. So, I mean, where do you go for your support group? Do you go to the ASPCA? Do they help you out? I mean,
Yeah. Look, but don't touch. No, there's no getting away from it. You are that defunct. Your brain is that damaged. There's no fixing it. There's no surgery. There's no, and again, how do I know, Rob? Am I a biologist? Am I a psychologist? No, but I'm not a retard. And we're letting too many retards call the shots. And the fact that so many local people are like, well, you're just a bully, and he's just you stupid Trumpers. You stupid Trumpers Trump, that one goofy old lady that she talks about being, and okay, so talking about being molested or being a victim of domestic abuse is like a badge of honor now for these old blue hairs, these old leftover hippie scumbags in the 70s. They're like, I was a victim of domestic violence, and I got thinking about it. And it's horrible to say, I'm going to make a lot of people angry. Now, I don't ever think about going around shooting people like that. That's not something that enters my mind. But if somebody breaks into my house in the middle of the night and I find you in the living room, I'm going to shoot you. I don't think about punching people in the face. But if I'm walking through the store with my wife and you grab her purse, I'm going to punch you in the face. Like, wait a minute, why can we think those things? But then you have these super hyper aggressive, violent liberal men and women. Why can't we talk like that about them? Like that black guy you're showing, like, oh, my good cracker's a dead cracker. Right. Oh, buddy, you don't know anything, man. Like, you want to start that war, you're not going to win it. And there's so many of those people here. Some of these old white purple hairs, the same people that are on the boardwalk every Saturday. Yeah. It's like the 70s were their claim to fame. We protested, we made change, and that's all they have left. What do they got? 10, 20 years before they're dead, before they die a miserable death of pancreatic cancer or Alzheimer's? Live your last years in joy and peace and get the hell off the stage. Get the hell off the stage and make room.
I want to kind of touch on your point. You're talking about the attacking someone or raping someone. Who was it? It was Plantner, the guy who's the actual Nazi. He has a Nazi tattoo. He was talking about if anyone broke into his house that was a guy, he would rape them to show him dominance. And I'm thinking, my God, who thinks that? A guy, someone breaks into my house. I'm not thinking of their sex. I'm thinking, plug him, man.
Did he really say that? Of course he did.
Fill him full of squids.
A sodomizing Nazi with blue hair on the boardwalk in Coos Bay. I mean, we need more of this. I mean, when I was accosted by one of the blue hairs the last flag wave. She didn't accost me. Well, one accosted me and said I started the Iraq War, and I was like, oh man, my secret is out. I started the Iraq War. But the other one was like screaming at a 5-year-old and saying her father, he was wearing like a veteran's hat and whatnot, and saying his father was, supporting a pedophile, and you should be taken into child custody because your father's a pedophile lover, and screaming at this kid like this far away from his face.
Yep.
To make the father like react and lay her out. And I was like, so I got between her and the kid and just stood there and crossed my arms. And basically she's like, oh, I'm not scared of you. And I'm going, I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to keep you from being a completely reprehensible human being. What went wrong in your life that you
What went wrong?
Screaming at a 5-year-old
Yep.
is a good idea? You're what, 70-something years old? Don't you have like grandchildren you can harass?
That's a violent act.
Kid? Yeah, it's a violent act. And then
The megaphones.
She got her whistle out and started doing her 3 short blast to get the Antifa people over. And I was like going, and I just kept following her around going, you're just a morally reprehensible person. You are you're nothing but dirt and garbage. I'm not going to do anything to you because there's nothing I can do that's going to make your life any worse than it is now, you pathetic piece of crap.
At what point, though? At what point does that tide turn? At what point, we get called Nazis, we get called the violent right. Holy crap, if we were violent, you'd know, but no, you wouldn't know about it because it'd all be done by now. But it's amazing that it hasn't kicked off. It's amazing that it hasn't happened. And I see this violence like that black guy, that fat slob, black ghetto fucking scum yelling that to those people, all those white people, you racist pig, you black Nazi, you. If someone just hauled off and popped him, I'd be like, ooh, that you don't do that. But I understand it. I understand it.
Well, Perry's one who has dealt with a lot of these Antifa types here in Coos County, and he knows what kind of our Coos County Antifa are kind of pussies, aren't they, Perry?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. They have very large mouths, but that's about it.
Yeah, a lot of them are keyboard warriors, and some of them, when they get out into groups, they get mouthy, they get kind of pushy and shovey. But if you actually stand up to them, they will turn and run pretty darn quick. And hey Perry, I have a question. Since you do a lot of tree work, don't you have one of those like industrial sized chipper shredders?
Well, of course.
Oh yeah, cool. So I mean, when we get around to doing the public execution stuff, can we borrow one of those? I think that would be really handy. I think it would send a message. Toss a pedo into a chipper shredder.
And here we are. Here we are expressing frustration, absolutely expressing frustration, and talking like this. And we will be painted and vilified as the most horrible, violent people. But yet the people that are acting on it, the people that are doing all the misdeeds and all the evil are given a pass. And I don't understand what happened. I don't know when it happened. I guess the 70s has really started tipping and going the wrong way. And maybe the 19th Amendment. I don't know. Let's just say, let's take away the women's right to vote for like 10 years and see what happens.
Oh, man,
I've been pushing that, and nobody's happy with it. But speaking of women, I was sitting there and I was reading the file that I have on this guy. I was reading that to my wife, and she looks at me. She goes, if you ever did something like that, don't expect me to defend you. In fact, just don't even bother fucking come home. In fact, just kill yourself. You know what I mean? It was like, I love
just
this
kill
woman
yourself.
Because, she's not going to protect anyone. And that's what I want. I want a woman who's going to defend the children, who's going to defend the weak. You know what I mean? That's why I hope she married me and I married her, for those type of character qualities of each other,
I got goosebumps just you saying that, and I often talk about the love of my life, and I love her unconditionally, and I was talking on my show last week, and then I stopped and I said, no, there is a condition. And if you were to do something like that, or I were to do something like that, that unconditionalness automatically changes. That's the condition. There are conditions. There's lines you don't cross, there's things you don't do, and that love could and should turn off in a heartbeat. But you make a bond with people that have that similar mindset, so that you can perpetuate that type of decency and that type of goodness, and not protect someone that's bad. Now, I'm not saying, again, this is all speculative on my part, but you've got a guy that's banging dogs and trading in kitty porn, being defended by his wife, and this whole thing's being kept quiet for years. I can only draw one inevitable conclusion in my mind, and that this other party was either a party to it or fully aware of it. There's no in between. Let's talk the reality of life. Let's talk the reality of humankind and relationships. You don't do that in a vacuum. Not for that long. It doesn't exist that long.
How long can you give your husband head and not realize his dick tastes like Alpo? I mean, just saying.
Well, so how can you defend him and say that he's changed if you didn't know what was going on beforehand?
Exactly.
Yeah, nicely put. Brilliant.
I love that. Oh, and by the way, I just put up a graphic that says, hey, once again, Oregon is number one in probably the worst category you can have. And the thing that's really sad about this is that they've been under-reporting sex offenders.
Yes.
For a while. They actually said, oh, well, we've lowered the bar or raised the bar. I don't know which way you want to put it.
Right,
But the number of sex offenders is much higher than they report. And even with the low number being reported, we're number one. So Tina Kotek, take a bow. We're number one in something in the.
Isn't that something? And our county, our little county of Coos, is number one. We're the number one county per capita in the number one state per capita in America.
Yeah.
Why are we not running out there with pitchforks? Mm-hmm. Why are we not blocking off the roads, telling the police, like, no, you don't come down this block for a couple hours? And I've stated publicly, and I will state it again here. I'm the most law-abiding person I know. I really am. I'm like an old grandpa. I'm like an old prude. I'm not. But at the end of the day, again, there's those lines you don't cross. If you pop smoke, I'm going to go there. And if you ever hurt my children or my family, and I used to tell us that pig Tara Johnson, that nasty, gross pig whose husband was the chronic alcoholic and died last year, and then she made out large, and now she's building her new house. But anyway, I used to tell that pig publicly that if anybody you ever aid in a bet, one of those filthy bum criminals, ever hurts my family, I'm holding you directly responsible for it. And there is nothing on earth that will stop me from reciprocity should you hurt my children. And we live in such a place that is so infected with these types that you have to make statements like that. You have to have it known. I had an issue, nothing sexual related or anything, but with a school teacher of one of my children a couple of years ago, that just some untoward things were said in the classroom that was like, again, nothing sexual, but it was very alarming to me. And I had an audience with that teacher, and I did the whole, the arm around the shoulder and the handshake and I trust we'll never have to have this conversation again. Why aren't more men doing that? I don't understand. I mean, and then I have to weigh it out. Well, I have two daughters. So something happens to one and I go and take care of business. Now I have to worry about, if I'm gone, my other daughter. But I still have to remove that threat so the other daughter never has to face it. Why are men here not of the same mindset as the few handful of us? I don't get it. It's like bums in the street littering and loitering and like, well, you can't do anything. No, you just got to leave them alone. No, you don't.
Right.
Look how much change Perry has affected. Look how much change Chris has affected. Look how much change all of us have affected. And we're just a handful of guys that really don't do a whole lot. Perry does a ton, but do what we do, and we've affected change. Why are more men not standing up? Why are people defending and going quiet? Is it because there's more complicity in this? Is it because this goes deeper than we ever thought? I don't understand it.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. If we are the number one state in the nation, as that chart that Marty put up, and we're the number one county and the number one state, I'll tell you what the problem is we only have 63,000 people. And let's see, I saw the post here. We have there is at least 236 offenders in Coos County. How many of those 63,000 people are related or know these 230 people and give them cover because of that familiarity? You know what I mean? Because that's a big thing right now. You know what I mean? That they think it's loyalty, and it's not. It's harming the victims.
May I share a story?
Sure.
And it's funny you brought that up, because that was in the Rolodex of my brain. I totally forgot about this. When I had the shop and crime was super bad in Charleston, like customers just stopped coming, because if you came to Charleston, you were having your crap stolen out of your boat or out of your truck. That was de facto how it was. And it got to the point where, so I started driving around at night. We got a group of people. Oh, vigilantes. Okay. Yeah. Vigilante means being vigilant. We had a little neighborhood watch thing going on, and we were chasing these people. We got the sheriff's department at that time was really forthcoming with giving us mug shots and stuff like that. Before it, like in the 14 years I've been here, it's changed so much. And we had a good relationship, and we'd have these mug shots, and we had these people that were known, and we could call the SO and say, hey, scumbag McScroterton is in Charleston right now. And they'd send someone down and pick him up.
Yeah.
Well, I was talking to a business, one of the local businesses that was broken into that weekend. And I was talking to him. I was in his little office. Like, man, like, do you know who did it? Do you have any ideas? Like, I can check my cameras and stuff. And as we're having that conversation, his office door flies open, and there's one of literally Coos County's most wanted, one of the biggest scumbag criminals. And I just stopped. My hand dropped by my hip. He kind of bowed up, and he goes, hey, Tex. I was like, hey, scumbag. And he just turned around and backed up. And I looked at the owner of this business. I said, what the hell is that? And he dropped his head down, and he said, that's my stepson. So
oh man,
he's the guy that probably broke into your business, man. That's why you're not talking about it. And there's so much of that cover up that goes on here, exactly like you said.
Yep. I see that. We see that with the father of the guy who hit killed the people on the school bus. The guy, you know what I mean? They enabled him for years and years. And I had a grandmother like this. I had a grandmother in Texas who had 8 children. And of all the children that she loved the most, she loved the one that was a druggie all of his life. He came back from the military in the 70s as a junkie. He spent all of his life as a junkie. He's a junkie to this day. She lived until she was 98 years old. And the whole time she enabled him. And it was really hard to give to grandma, because anything that you gave to grandma sometimes ended up in Uncle Mike's pocket, and that would go towards drugs and other non-nefarious things. And it would be horrible to not be able to take care of your grandmother, but I couldn't in some ways, because, it's like I would go there and I would go shopping for her. I wouldn't give her money. You know what I mean? We would buy her stuff that she couldn't give as, to trade for drugs and stuff. And that was sad. But yet, what are you going to do about that? And I wish people would look at themselves and say they're not doing any good, thinking, because she was a good Catholic woman and she thought that she was helping her son by caring for him, by giving him a place over his head. And I used to tell him, kick his ass out, let him straighten up. And if he dies, he dies, but don't let him take you with him. And I'll tell you, the way she died, slowly just losing her mind, dementia and stuff, it was like a living hell watching this. And I get mad when people say you have no mercy. You have no mercy. I have mercy for all those mothers, aunts, and sisters who sit at home at night crying their eyes out because their loved ones are out committing crimes, doing drugs, and just nothing but putting worry in their heart. And that's what I care about.
One of the things that I'd like to discuss as well is that there's, the lawlessness has gotten more and more obvious, because for the last, decade or so, the thing is, certain amounts of laws can be broken with impunity if you're on the right side of the equation. So, they've been trying to destroy the state of Oregon. They've been trying to destroy the civil discourse that we all have. And so they have judges that will, if you defend yourself and you shoot an intruder, and you're going to be doing serious time. Now, if you're a person of color and you stab somebody to death, well, you're going to get maybe a little bit of maybe a year, and it's probably going to be probation only. And so like the guy that stopped a murder in a subway in New York City, had to go through all this legal rigmarole because he was protecting people on the subway. The same thing with, the recent case where it's like, it's been turned against us, the people that are using common sense and have that civil discourse and have that sense that, this is what we need for a proper civilization. Well, they've been trying to destroy that proper civilization on purpose. And they've been trying to do race riots. They've been trying to foment hate and trying to piss us off to do something really stupid, because then they will say, we've been telling you that they're violence. And it's like, well, yeah, if it actually came out that way, I know people like I graduated high school in Bandon, but I'm originally from small town Iowa. I know guys that would sit up in a tree with a rifle to bag a deer in the middle, they'd be sitting up in a tree for 8 hours to take out a deer that was a field away. And it's like, so you think your blue-haired wannabes are going to have any success with that crowd. I don't think so. So,
how long can violence be threatened upon us? How many Charlie Kirks can be shot? How many times can a president be shot at? How many times can conservatives be attacked and attacked and attacked before something finally gives? I don't know. I've stepped away from the body politic a lot lately. My page, my BTR Unfiltered. People are retarded, like on the right and on the left. And the last straw for me was about 6 months ago. There was some stuff going on politically with the right, and people were defending, and it was something. I won't even get into it, but it was just somebody on the right that just nothing bad, but I was calling out a spade being a spade, and this person on the right did this, and that's why this happened, and just the sycophantic, no, that's not what happened. That's not. They're a great person, and this is what's going on. It's like, no. I mean, they're not a bad person, but don't just blindly follow the R and the D. Like, are you that retarded? There's good and bad with all of it. And I've had to step away from a lot of political stuff because of that. That was just that was the tipping point for me. Like, oh, everybody here is fucking retarded. Okay, that's okay. That's it. I'm done with that. I can't talk to people anymore. People are just too stupid because we have a what's it called? The tribal mentality. We have such a tribal mentality. You know what the tribe is? The tribe is America. America's the tribe. It used to be the tribe, man. And then we had state pride within our country. And then we had county pride. Then we had our hometown pride. And none of that is around anymore. Now the pride is like, well, this guy, just because he humps dogs and trades kitty porn doesn't mean it's a bad company he owns. The company's still good. Oh, the company that makes him money so that he can do the kitty porn and hump dogs. And he was a dog breeder too, which takes it to a whole other level. Like, are you a dog breeder or are you a dog breeder?
Are you a dog breeder or are you a dog breeder?
Yes, and these are the cliques, and these are the tribes that people are defending and being a part of now. It's not the goodness, it's not America, it's not patriotism, it's sycophantic politicization. It's sycophantic. I can't even find the right words for it, but whatever someone's druthers are, that's what they get for. It's not for the greater good of anything. It's for their own deviance and their own desires. I don't know how to put it. It's bothersome to me.
Yeah.
Well, and you got a lot of suicidal empathy going on too. I mean, these people are empathizing with the very people that would shiv and kill them in a second. And,
right.
It's like, so you're essentially with the 8 to 10 years of browbeating that we've been getting because of the Smith-Mundt Act being repealed back in 2012, where it's like, American media can't be used as propaganda against Americans. Well, that got thrown out the window by, Barack Obama. And so now the American media not only is a propaganda machine against us and trying to take down the republic, but after years and years and years of hearing this kind of message, a lot of people just, they start chanting that mantra. It doesn't take long. There've been a lot of psychological studies where it doesn't take long to turn people that are normally nice people into complete and utter retards and just, prison guards, where it's just like they find that their brand of thuggery is okay because they are morally superior. And it's morally
superior. Yes. Aren't they morally superior?
So, Perry, you go out to houses, and I love the one house that you're always getting video of. Do you still have a camera of that one house where they keep breaking into it?
I thought I wasn't going to make it here on time because I had to run over there and meet with 2 cops because the chick was trying to break into it.
Late breaking news. Yeah, he still has a camera. There are cops on the scene at the moment. Yeah.
What happened? What happened to the America when someone's breaking into a house? They get the shit beat out of them, and maybe they wake up in the hospital or a back alley. What happened to that? I don't understand. It's like the squatters thing. Oh, I had to hire a company that they squatted on top of the squatters to force. No, you walk into your own house, and you tell them exactly how the guy attacked you and how you defended yourself with that baseball bat, and you caved his skull in and turned him into mush.
Mm-hmm.
I
so
couldn't
this is-
imagine someone squatting on someone like Perry or you. You know what I mean? It's like,
I would-
like you said, it would be impossible because you'd walk in and it's like the only thing you would see is the officer showing up and trying to have you describe why the brains are all over the wall. You know what I mean?
And that sting house that Perry has, it's being not on that page anymore. I miss so much of that stuff, and every now and then I'm tempted to go back, but I need another month or two break from that page and everything that's on it. But that is the funniest thing going on. Like that should have its own television show.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I think you could take the video that Perry has, and we're talking hundreds of hours probably by now, huh, Perry, of video that you have.
More than you would think for one house. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, the videos that he's made of people just, you would think people would get it. Oh, hey, I'm going to be filmed. But I mean, they're so damn stupid. They just keep repeating the same crime.
Yeah.
It sounds like a real estate agent's dream. I have like 500 hours of video for this house.
Yeah. How do you? That's a good damn point. Oh shit.
But that house is actually a good example of what you were talking about earlier. We're all out here playing a game. You can call it the game of life, which sounds stupid, but we're all playing a game. But these criminals have changed the rules, and the government has changed the rules. And if we don't adapt to these new rule changes, we'll continue to lose. Which I'm through trial and error trying to figure out how to start winning at these games. And like that house, I pretty much win every time at there. But but we got to figure out how to do things different and how to win, because we're not winning. And I don't know how to get more people to do it, but that's the other problem.
Well, and I've always said, just, protect your home and the house beside it and the house beside that. And if the next guy does the same thing, before you know it, everybody's watching out. I've got a lot of older folks in my neighborhood, and there's been more than one occasion I've run out with a rifle in the middle of the night because people have been going through their yard or going through their vehicles and stuff like that. And that's my job. My job as a man who's still able-bodied enough to do it is to protect those around me that maybe are not as able-bodied. And then the job of the people behind me is to protect and defend me and have my back. And it goes on like that. But that chain has just snapped, and now there's no links holding those pieces together, and nobody's answering the call to protect and defend.
And nobody has anybody to call for help. That's why I end up with this house, and why I go out to see where James Box was trying to assault 2 13-year-olds, and because they have to get a hold of me because they have nobody else to turn to.
Right? Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy?
It is.
Now let me
story.
Can I just real quickly, and then I'll okay. So maybe that is the way. Maybe let's just law enforcement's failing. They want more money all the time. They can't do this. We can't do this. We can't do this. Let's cut them down and let's just start policing ourselves. That's how America started. America didn't just pop up and all of a sudden there was a constabulary and we'll just help you look after it. No, you looked after your own self, and then you elected a sheriff, and he had like 2 guys at most. And then when something bad happened, you deputized 30 and you went and you caught the sons of bitches. Maybe we need to go back to that. Maybe Perry needs to be a marshal or a sheriff in his little area, his zone.
Remember in the old Western movies, you'd have a sheriff, and the sheriff was bought off. So then they would send in a federal marshal, and that'd be John Wayne or that guy from Gunsmoke, and he would ride in and say, "No, this is my territory now," and start cleaning up the place. And like you said, he would get a bunch of people. He'd get Festus and all those other people, and they'd come back and have a little fun at Miss Kitty's place. What a great day that was, Gunsmoke. I'm sorry, I'm reliving something.
Yeah, but I'm like going, so we went out of our way to get a whole bunch of precinct committee people. So maybe we ought to just set up a precinct committee people posse where everybody, polices their precinct. And, not only do we get people involved in get people involved in the precinct and in your neighborhood. And, and the whole thing is if you grow it like, hey neighbor, how you doing? I'd like to introduce myself because, I know all the neighbors within about a 1.5 mile radius of my place. I live out in the boondocks, but if I see somebody I don't recognize, I'll go introduce myself, not because, just basically to say, hey, I don't recognize you, and what are you doing in this location? And it's not like I'm trying to, like, get in trouble or get in a fight or anything. I'm just like going, hey, I'm part of the neighborhood watch. I'm part of the making sure that the neighborhood's safe. And they're like, oh, I'm renting the place from the Hunts. And I'm like, okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure. And that's one way to do it. If you do it at the precinct level, we got PCPs. Well, precinct posse. Let's go with that.
The thing is though, people will think we're on angel dust out there with guns. Yeah, well, we got some PCP. We're in a posse. Yeah.
Never thought of that.
Get me a little sniffing glue. I get a bad day to stop sniffing glue, but I mean, it's like, yeah, give me a little PCP. I got a lot more bravery now. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, shit. So, Perry, go back to that story. I want to hear about the 2 13-year-olds someone was attacking. What?
Yeah, so they, as 13-year-olds do, they went out on a piece of property. It's a bunch of sand dunes out in North Bend in Airport Heights. And they just went out there to play, just to be 13-year-olds. Well, they went out there, in this James Box, who has a criminal record like as tall as I am, ended up getting mad that they came out there. The kids started to run away. He picked up one of their scooters and started swinging it at the kids. And they ended up on the phone with the police. Police show up, and they arrest him, and he's still in jail. He's been in jail for a few weeks now, charged with burglary, robbery, and assault, and all kinds of stuff for attacking these 13-year-olds. The worst part is that these kids' parents ended up having Child Protective Services called on them because I don't know what. They were outside playing and happened to be attacked by a criminal. So
that we have such weird laws in Oregon, and I'm sure is because they were unsupervised.
It's a mandatory reporting, the police said, and for what, you're allowed to play outside unless you run into the wrong person. What's the mandatory reporting?
When we were kids, we ran into a lot of the wrong people, but that's how we learned who was the wrong people and who wasn't, because we learned to stay the hell away from most of those people, because the word would go out there. Oh, there's that weird guy who lives out in the field in that shack. Don't go anywhere near that weird guy. Even as kids, we used to talk about that, because we'd go on long bike rides out in the woods, and we'd actually, go on adventures and stuff. And if there were bad people around, it was like we all knew about it. You know what I mean? It was like there was a chain of network going on there.
But dads back then, if that line was crossed, would show up and take care of business, where we don't have that now. A few people here making comments that I guess I didn't clarify myself enough or describe what I was thinking of eloquently enough. But they're saying, that's basically neighborhood watch. I'm talking about, I would love to see law enforcement reduced to bare bones and the people become law enforcement again. Yep. Right now, neighborhood watch is you watch. That's it. I would love to see some good old boys get hands-on and axe handles and do what needs to be done and take people into custody. And this whole nonsense of passive restraint. These videos pop up in my feeds every now and then, and it's like 6 guys are piled onto one guy to get him into custody because you don't want to hurt him. You start breaking bones, you start punching in the face, you start kneeing in the throat, you start complying really quick. Mug shots used to always be people with the shit beat out of them, black eyes, coming out of the hospital a week later, and it worked. And now mug shots are all people smiling. So neighborhood watch, you call. If the police show up, they go, well, there's not a lot we can do. We don't have a lot of guys on duty. Well, we can take him in, but we'll have to let him go because, we don't have the funding for the jail. And really, he only did this and that. The DA is not going to deal with it anyway, but we'll go and talk to him. That's what it is. I mean, I'm saying get rid of that whole element, make neighborhood watch the actual law enforcement of the area. That's what
that's what they do in certain counties. That's in Texas. I know they do that. They do that up in Powers as well. They had their own patrols and stuff where if you were up there speeding and causing trouble, well, one of the neighborhood guys would come and have a word with you. And, for people who live out in areas where we're out in the wilds and we're on our own and stuff, and I shouldn't say that I'm in band and I'm the most protected latte sipping liberal area in the world here in Bandon. You know, the likelihood of me getting attacked is like being attacked by a grizzly bear and a polar bear on the same day, you know. But you know, if you're out in the wild, okay, like I go gun shooting. I'll go up on county land and go gun shooting. And you always learn to keep a gun loaded on you, because you don't want to be gun shooting, shoot all your ammo, and then someone come up and steal your guns. That's the kind of paranoia freak I think about when I'm out there in the woods and stuff. But that's something you have to be concerned about, because today you can run into a patch of a bunch of street criminals who are now living in the woods.
Yep.
And
you will.
And you will.
And so there was a guy, he just stole a couple things from Basin Highland, and I was in the store when it happened. And I told the cashier, who I knew, and she was like, okay, I'll deal with it. And I was like, wait a minute, let me go out to my truck. I need to get something first. So I went out there, got a couple things, and then she approached him and he took off. Well, I took off after her. I ended up chasing him all the way over to Meeks Park, and finally the police showed up and got him. But throughout that whole thing, he's telling me, well, I'm just going to get cited and released. Well, I know. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm chasing you, to make sure you get not just cited and released, yes, but you're dealing with me. You're not dealing with the police.
Yeah.
You're having to run away from me all the way to Meeks Park. You know, he's not worried about getting cited and released. He was worried about me. And
right.
I didn't do anything illegal. The other problem is that the police have told me numerous times that I need to be careful. You know, it's a very fine line that you've got to walk to be able to consistently do kind of what I do and not get in trouble for it. But you can figure it out, and you can be the person that they're scared of when they're not scared of the police. And that guy's never come back to that store again. You know, okay, that's solved. Problem solved right there.
Yeah. Right.
It's
good job.
People need to start by trial and error, figuring out how to take the community back. They really do.
When I first moved here, I was at Walmart, and I watched a guy literally walk into the gardening section, pick up a chainsaw, put it in his backpack, and start walking out with it. And it's like, I'm going to kick the shit out of him, but not in the store. I'll wait till he's out. And then like, this is great. So I was following him, and I grabbed a customer service person, whatever. Said, hey, that guy just took a chainsaw. That's what's in his backpack right now. He stuffed the chainsaw in there. Like, okay, thank you. I'm like, I'm gonna get him. Like, no. Like they were more concerned. The group of them that gathered were more concerned that I was gonna get involved than the guy was actually committing a crime. And I was very confused by it, because I didn't fully understand how Oregon operated or didn't operate at that time. And here I am 14 years later, and I'm still trying to figure out what happened here and how it got this way and why it's this way. Someone's walking out with a chainsaw. You give them a real quick opportunity to do the right thing. And then when he doesn't do it, you fix it. But alas, that's not how it is here.
No, it isn't. I got into a fight in Albuquerque back in the late 80s. I watched three guys go in. Me and my buddy were there, and we just came out of a 7-Eleven, watched three guys go in. And it was one of those clerk shakedowns. It was late at night where one guy was tying up the clerk and the other guys were, stealing shit and stuff. And as one of them walked out, I walked up to him and I grabbed his shirt and said, well, looky here, and I just dropped all his stuff there. And we got into this big old fight with these three guys. And when the sirens came, they were able to jump in their car and leave. But that's, to me, I think we did something because it was a deterrent to them, because they faced a consequences. There are people who are still willing to stand up and be ballsy. Here's a video. Here's a quick video I want to show you of what happened to this guy who was a registered sex offender and what this father did. This is great. You're going to love this.
Scotty.
How old are you? How old are you? How old are you? How fucking old are you? You got something to fucking say to us? Huh? You got go fucking 6-year-old bitch.
Scotty.
No, your fucking story's over. Let me fucking tell you something.
Scotty.
Tell you something, bitch. Let me fucking tell you something.
Yeah. We told you multiple times to leave them girls alone.
In this motherfucking neighborhood. You're fucking sorry, ain't motherfucking shit.
I ain't doing anymore.
No, you ain't gonna fucking live here no more. Get your motherfucking ass.
Okay.
I'm gonna fucking kill you, motherfucker.
I'm getting out
You
of here.
understand me?
Yeah.
You got anything to say to a 6-year-old child?
No, sir.
Huh?
No.
3 of them?
No.
My daughter can't play in her fucking front yard because you want to set your perverted ass. I know about you, motherfucker. You're a goddamn fuck Barbie. Fuck you. I'm telling you right fucking now. You have no reason to speak to any fucking child. Any motherfucking child. You're lucky I'm slapping you or I'd break your fucking jaw. You understand me?
Yes, sir.
You fucking understand me, motherfucker? I'm telling you right now, I know you're a registered fucking sex offender. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, you are. You're goddamn right you are. So what did you have to fucking say to my 6-year-old daughter?
No one.
You don't need to say hi to her, do you?
No, sir.
I catch you one more fucking time talking to a kid, it'll be the last day you're fucking breathing. You understand me, motherfucker?
Yes, sir.
You're getting off easy. Not one of them was a punch.
Yes, sir.
I could kill you right fucking now. You understand me?
Yes, sir.
Don't ever speak to another one of my fucking kids. It'll be the last day you're breathing.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yes, sir, ain't shit. You fucking do it or you're dead. You understand me, motherfucker? Do you fucking understand me?
Yes, sir.
And that's how you deal with a registered sex offender. Bravo. Bravo.
All day long.
You know,
Because it
Perry was a
works.
little upset, but I thought, what the hell? Break out the camera. No, I'm joking.
That's
what
a
you
man
feel
defending
like
his
doing.
family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Why do they always sound like that really sad dog from the cartoons? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah. And that's what they sound like. There's several guys now on video, and there's one in Oregon who actually sets up sex offenders. He'll meet them at the store, and he'll literally beat the crap out of them. He'll slap the crap out of them and film
Dads Against Predators. Joshua Mundy. He is a rock star. He has him and the other guy, the Jason guy or whatever. They have some legal issues now because they made one of the Chamos eat cigarette butts. They said, okay, well, you got an option. We're going to do this to you, or we're going to call the police. And of course, they 90% of them like, just go ahead, slap the shit out of me. And they just wind up and like they kill these guys hearing for a week. But one of the ones I got to watch, Facebook hadn't pulled it yet. They made him crawl on his hands and knees like a dog, and Ray Cox would like that, and eat cigarette butts out of an ashtray. And then they slapped the shit out of him and let him go. And they said like, well, people were like, well, you're interfering with police investigations. The police investigations are a joke. Let's be honest. The real value in what they're doing is that they are showing these people's faces. They are putting out their names. And all these guys are admitting that, yeah, I was coming here to meet a 13-year-old, a 14-year-old. Grown-ass man, there's absolutely zero reason for you to interact with a 13, 14-year-old. Absolutely zero reason. And that guy is my freaking hero.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I saw that video and I said, man, I got to throw that on there because I knew where we were going tonight.
Where'd you find that? What platform was that on?
That was on Twitter. Twitter is really cool now. I really like.
I got to get on there.
Yeah, you're not on Twitter.
No, I think I have an account from years ago and I never did anything with it. I think I need to, because that's great. That was just a beautiful thing to watch.
Yeah, I tell you what, you can see stuff like that all the time on X. I'm sorry, Marty.
Really?
That's okay. Yeah, I'm doing the X hat, which this X on this hat has actually absolutely nothing to do with X or Twitter, the platform, but I like it because it's got an X on it. So
that's awesome.
What do you want from me? Yeah, I wish I had Elon-like money and Elon-like connections. Congratulations on being a trillionaire, by the way.
Yes.
SpaceX IPO'd. And it's like somebody goes, well, if I was a trillionaire, I'd solve all the world's problems. Well,
then you wouldn't be a trillionaire.
Yeah. Well, and not only that, but he's been paying a lot of the people that worked with SpaceX for a long time. They got, they were getting paid reasonably well for the industry, but not very well. But they were getting a lot of stock, pre-IPO stock. And so a guy who was a welder getting paid $28 an hour was buying stock with his extra money, and now he's got $1.8 million worth of stock just by being, just by being like one of the frontline workers. I mean, people in the cafeteria, the welders, all the people that worked there for years for reasonably or low wages got a bunch of stock. I mean, and it's like, and now that, now they've IPO'd, and it's like, what, he's got, a couple 100,000 shares at $135 a share. I mean, we're talking real money at that point. So it's like zowie. So yeah, I wish I could do me a $1 trillion deal myself.
Yeah.
4,000 people. I'll tell you what, I knew this millionaire from Texas, and he, by the time I had met him, he was in his 90s, and he had hundreds of millions of dollars. And he was the new owner of our optical lab. It wasn't like, I was hanging out at some country club. He just happened to bought the business that I was working for. And he said one of the biggest thrills, the thing that got his rocks off the most, was creating other millionaires. And he did that through his business. He worked them up to the point where they were able to become millionaires because of the same thing that Elon Musk had done. And he said that's the most exciting thing. And Elon said something to that effect. He just made 4,000 people millionaires who were just your everyday average citizens. And now it's like, buying Bitcoin in 19
cents. Yeah.
19 cents. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like some of the early Apple employees who got paid in stock. It's like, had they held on to that, they'd be billionaires as well. And,
Isn't that something? Isn't that amazing? America, only in America, man. That's a fascist country all you want. It's even our enemies want to come and live here.
Well, and it kills me. We you were talking about. I was showing examples of what was happening outside the trial at the Anthony Carmela trial. The horrible things they were saying, and I got some more videos, and I got add-on videos to that are really quick. But I want to play his father. I don't know if you guys saw the interview with his dad.
Oh, the Urkel lookalike. Yeah.
And let me tell you, this is a man who just lost his son. He was told that he couldn't say anything through the whole damn trial. Before, during, and after the trial, his family was harassed. His son was the victim. His family was harassed. He was threatened. His family was threatened. They had to get protection. Here's what the man finally had to say after the trial.
And the only people that's going to change it are you. Don't blame the white person because we can't change it. But you're going to blame the white person for every fucking thing else. We'll see who's laughing. You're a pussy and a coward, and you raised one. Kayla, you drunk bitch. What'd you do to that boy to make him stab somebody? My God, what kind of mother are you? Hey, Kevin Hayes, you fucking liar. Day after it happened, how many lies did you sit and type up on your keyboard, you big keyboard warrior? You a big tough man. You still live in Baton Rouge? Remember you said you'd come to Frisco, buddy? You're supposed to find me. I told you we could sit down and talk. Something to brag about, and you people.
All right, I'm having trouble with that video, but you get the gist of it. This is a man who had his heart ripped out, and here these people are attacking him.
Yep.
But there may be some prison justice, because I don't know if you guys saw this, and once again, I got this off of X.
My followers that happened, and as we speak, the Aryan Brotherhood of Texas already has a hit out on Carmelo Anthony. Shot callers have already made the hit. There's a lot of money behind this one, and it will be handled accordingly. Soon as Carmelo Anthony touches down in a Texas prison, justice will be served. So I'm
asking you, Bloods, Crips, Vice Lords, I'm asking the black Muslims, please, 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 y'all, protect him, y'all. Protect him, y'all.
Protect him. Protect him. Protect him. Protect him. Right about now, Carmelo Anthony needs you. He needs you. Don't let the Aryan Brotherhood do that. He's going to need protection. He's going to need the Bloods. He's going to need the Crips. He's going to need the Muslims. He's going to need you. He's going to need you. Guard his life. Don't let Carmelo Anthony.
Did they ask him not to do that? I heard them ask him not to do that.
Yeah,
what was that? I couldn't even understand that. Is there a translator in the room? Was that a dude or a chick? Have you seen the murderer's dad? He looks like Steve Urkel. He looks like Steve Urkel.
No, I haven't.
The dad. And it's all racism. It's all racism. He's got incarcerated because of racism.
He's got the big earrings. He's got the red braids, and basically they ought to give him like a little name tag and call him didn't do nothing. And
yep.
You know, and it's but I mean, come on. The thing is the way the prison system works is the Crips and the Bloods, if there are any in Texas, and the Muslim Brotherhood, they're not gonna stop this because they know that it'll be range war in the prison, and they don't want that. They have set up certain things in prisons where there are gangs, and you either join one of the gangs, but all the gangs kind of keep a truce because otherwise it would be bloodshed every day. But if you cross those lines, yes, they will take you out in nothing flat. And so yeah, if the Aryan Brotherhood has got a number on him, he's gone. He's dead. That's it. He'll
be in an area that's kept segregated from everything else. I mean, it's just that kind of stuff. Those kind of people are incarcerated all the time, and nothing ever happens to them because they have to. And just the public outlash, the public outcry. I mean, that institution, the agencies, the political parties, like they all have a vested interest in keeping that scumbag alive. I'd like to see him shanked to death. A little bit of just rewards, but I don't think that'll happen. I really don't.
I don't think it's going to happen for one simple reason: money. They have a drug trade and a crime trade in prison. You know, there is the black market, and that's still run by a lot of people who are sitting in prison. So they're not going to use this as some way to mess up that trade. They don't want a race war, and I don't think it's going to be something that is going to be good for business. I think this is media. I couldn't even call it media hype. This is people on the internet trying to just stir up shit. Now, whether or not there are bets being placed on it, I haven't found that out yet, but I am looking for that to see if there are bets being placed, because I thought that would be interesting, because I don't know. I mean, who's betting on this shit? I would like to find that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of betting platforms where you can bet on just about anything. So sure, why not? I mean, one of the things is they probably won't put him in GP. They'll probably actually have to put him in solitary confinement.
I don't know if it'd be protective custody. I don't think it'd be solitary necessarily. Maybe at times, but they've got areas they can keep a guy without having him necessarily in solitary and not be in general population. And it's because there's a lot of that. They have to accommodate this type of stuff all the time.
See, in my world, they would all go into general population, and the crime that they have committed, or the crimes, would be tattooed on their forehead, and then we would let the jungle take care of itself. We wouldn't have to worry about pedos coming out, because they would go in there and it would say pedophilia, and we know who's going to take care of that. So
let nature run its course. And the whole race thing is so overdone. I'm so tired of it. I'm so sick of it. Good guys, bad guys. And again, we talk about this tribalism, this genuine tribalism. Nobody's for America anymore. These black guys are for the blacks. The white guys are for the whites. I love America, man. I want America. The rest of it can all go away.
Everybody needs to label, and everybody needs to label everybody else. It's
right.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's part of the whole plan. I mean, the whole idea of, the path to socialism or the path to communism or the path to the destruction of our republic all kind of follows the Arlinsky rules of, rules for radicals. And the whole idea is you got to start division amongst people. It's got to be a race war, or it's got to be rich against poor, or black against white, or or Christians against non-Christians or whatever. But they want to foment that stuff, and the media is going to push that stuff, and they're going to push all that because the whole idea is that this is part of the big plan. The big plan is we can't allow the republic to to last because there's trillions of dollars in play here. I mean, the reason we have wars is because there's a lot of people that are making billions and trillions making the weapons. And there are billions and trillions being done when they wipe out the place and then somebody has to rebuild it. Who do you think gets all those construction contracts to rebuild the countries we just bombed the crap out of? So, there's a lot of money. And basically the current president is going, yeah, we're ending all these wars. That whole, that whole center of terrorism in Iran that's been going on for 47 years. We're dismantling that, and we are cutting down, and we are getting rid of the money printing machine that has been doing for a long time. But we're seeing, the color revolution is on here in America, and we're seeing what's happening with it. It's
did you see the report that was released by Tulsi Gabbard on the labs? Over 100, I forget, 120 labs that we were funding. 40 of them were on the border of Ukraine and Russia. I can't figure out why Russia was invading Ukraine. You know what I mean? Maybe it was to protect them from some of that COVID virus or worse.
Yeah, they had biological in 2012. Obama, Biden, McCain, and Newland basically overthrew the duly elected democratic government of the Ukraine and installed their own people through a color revolution. You'll see the same people in the street riots that were going on in the Ukraine back in 2012. You'll see the same people that are at the No Kings protests, or these are hired people. These are bankrolled. These are organized operations. So,
and you made a statement about the media. You hit the nail on the head, Marty. Pardon me, but you said you mentioned the media, and I don't think we went into that far enough. Like they are complicit. They are the more bad stuff that goes on, the more money they make. Media is a billion. It's hundreds of billion. I'm saying it's up there with probably pharmaceuticals, and we're talking social media. We're talking your conventional media, all the media. If it bleeds, it leads, that old adage, right? And it's not even that anymore. The more violence there is, the more we hate each other, the more schism, the more tribal we are, the more money they make. And I think the greatest, biggest threat to our nation, to our republic, I genuinely believe it, is media of any and all forms. I think it is the number one threat, number one enemy of our nation.
Yeah. You got no argument from me. I mean, at one point I worked for ABC News. I mean, at one point I used to.
It's your fault.
It is my fault. I told you previously I started the Iraq War.
That's right. That's right.
I showed this on my show Monday, and I don't know if you guys have seen this. This is the last 3 minutes of President Trump's interview with Meet the Press. And I don't know if you guys seen this, but I've got to show it again because this is why I love and voted for President Trump.
Now, with that being said, as I understand it, the weaponization fund was going to set up a group of people, people that could be picked by anybody, fair people, smart people, and they will go on an individual case basis.
Okay.
Now, I don't know what's going to happen with the weaponization fund. I love the idea because people like you, the fake, dirty press, the crooked press, people like stupid Biden, he's not smart enough to know what's going on, but people that surrounded him, surrounded his beautiful, resolute desk in the Oval Office, what they did to the lives of people, they destroyed people. They sent people to jail who did nothing wrong.
All right, just to be very clear, there's no evidence of what you're saying, but let me ask you about Todd Blanche.
Listen to me.
Let's talk
There's
about Todd
tremendous
Blanche.
evidence. There's nothing but
not
evidence.
Been
The election
in a
was
court of
rigged.
law.
It was a dirty election.
Mr.
And it's
President,
happening again right now in
never
California.
Presented evidence.
It's happening
the
right now in California.
Rigged.
Right now, it's look at what's happening in California.
To that?
It's
the
4
Republicans
days.
are doing well in
California. No, they're not. They're dropping fast because it's a rigged election. Let me tell you, it's 4 days, and they aren't even close to coming up with it.
That's how they count
You know
the
why they're
votes in
doing that? Because
California.
they're cheating on the election.
Do you have evidence to support
All I have to do is look. All I have to do is look.
That's not
and I
evidence.
listen. And I listen to people. And let's see what happens.
But, sir, that's not evidence.
Do you think it's appropriate?
That's how they count the votes in
Do you
California.
think it's appropriate that they have an election and 5 days later they're nowhere close to picking a
State
winner?
and local officials acknowledge they are slow. They're urging.
No, they're crooked.
They're urging
They're
the
crooked.
votes to be counted quickly. That's how they
They're
vote in
crooked,
California.
just like you're crooked. Your press is crooked, and Meet the Press is crooked.
To be fair, I'm not crooked, but let's
Really?
Let's
Well, you
continue.
play right into their hands. then.
Let's continue.
You're either crooked or you're stupid.
Let's
you play
continue.
right into their hands with this rap. You know that these elections are rigged. Your network knows that they're rigged. You know that I won an election in a landslide, and I got 94% bad press.
But, Mr. President,
you know why I
you've
got
never
that?
presented
Because you have no
evidence.
credibility.
But you've never presented evidence that it was rigged. Let's keep talking about. I want to talk about Todd.
You
Blanche.
have more evidence. There's more evidence than ever presented.
Let's talk
Your
about
elections
You
in
went
this
to
country.
court.
We're like a third world country.
But, sir-
Your elections are crooked, and you're crooked, and Meet the Press is crooked,
Mr.
and so
President-
is ABC and CBS and CNN.
But, Mr. President-
You're one-sided crooked networks. All right, let's call it quits because I've had enough. Thank you, darling. Have a good
Mr.
time.
President, let's please. I traveled all the way to Wisconsin.
I've sat
I
in the
traveled
rain with
all
you.
the, I know. I
I've sat in
traveled
the rain
all the
with
way
you
to
for an hour,
Wisconsin.
on and off in the rain, and I've given you enough time. You ought to straighten out your press because you know what?
Mr.
A
President,
country can never be
We
great
traveled
with a dishonest
Listen,
press.
we
Come on, let's
traveled
go.
all the way to Wisconsin.
I could watch that.
I traveled all the way to Wisconsin.
I'm not corrupt. For the record, I'm not corrupt. How dare you?
You're crooked or you're stupid.
Yeah, I like that. You're either crooked or you're stupid. I mean, that's
I'm a little of both.
it all right there. Yeah. No, I mean, there's absolutely no way to present evidence. I mean, they always said, well, you know, you never proved it in court. Well, every single court would not take the case. They
Right.
said he had no standing. Really? The president has no standing in a federal election where he's getting elected? That's BS. You know, and it's like, the problem is we don't have to prove that there's fraud going on. They have to prove fraud is not going on, and they've refused to do it because they've written the laws in such a way that you can't prove it. The way the election system works in Oregon, there's absolutely, positively no way to prove that anybody counted my vote ever. There's absolutely, positively no way to prove what the chain of custody was on those ballots. They won't allow me to see election data. You know, I've asked. I mean, it took me 3 years and it cost the county over $20,000 in outside counsel to fight me, to keep me from getting ballot images for an election. And then when they gave it to me, they corrupted the data such that there was no way I could make a conclusion one way or the other. And they fought me every step of the way. They gave me web activity logs that were corrupted. They gave me election activity logs that were corrupted. They gave me machine logs that were corrupted to make sure that I could not look at an election and make a conclusion. And at no point did I ever say I thought they were cheating. I just said, allow me to prove it to anyone that if I look at this election data, is it going to come out the exact same thing that you published in the press? Is it going to be the same numbers? And the fact that they've fought me for this long and this much money from the county, which doesn't have a lot of money, they're willing to fight me this hard to keep me from seeing the data. I mean, does this tell you that it's transparent? Does it tell you that it's safe and secure? It tells me that they're hiding something, and I want to know why. I'm still curious. Read all the Curious Case of Coos County articles, and you'll understand why I'm so curious. So
Perry
and
could
there's
tell
my
you a
rant.
story. Oh, that was a good rant. But Perry's got a story. He received several ballots this year. I don't know. Perry was he got the trifecta. I think he got a couple, didn't you?
Yeah. And one person completely changed their name. So nobody's going to even look for that ballot that was mailed to me because they're going to get a ballot in a completely different name where they actually live. So I have a ballot and I would be able to get that signature because I know the person. I could fill that ballot out, go buy a stamp, a signature stamp, stamp it. And who's going to prove me wrong? Nobody. You cannot prove that was fraud.
Yeah.
And you could test that. You know how you test that? No. It's a secret ballot. But here's a secret that people don't realize. You got a judge, all the judges there, all of them were running uncontested. Well, you take a judge, you pick a judge, and then you do a write-in, and you write in some name that you know nobody else would ever write in for this judge. Ichabod Crane or something, you know what I mean? Then after 30 days after the election, you go back and you ask for the write-ins of all for that position, and they have to give you those names. And if Ichabod Crane comes up, you know that's probably about 100% sure you voted, and that was the ballot that they counted.
Yeah.
But everybody with absolute certainty fights with me saying, oh, well, there's no proven fraud. There's no proven fraud. And like Marty said, Oregon does not have and has never been able to check to see if anything was fraudulent. If it passes signature verification, that's the last thing they know about it.
And because 3 of us here are PCPs, this is in a test state, meaning that if someone in our precinct comes to us and says, I live here and this is my name, not even knowing if that is true, we can go to the county clerk with that person and say, I want to attest for this individual that this is this person and this is where he lives, and they will give him a ballot or her a ballot.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, the reason you can't, and that's why they always like to use that, you can't prove fraud. You don't have any proof. Well, it's built that way on purpose. I mean,
and what's wrong with saying that? And what is wrong with us saying that?
Because you're a conspiracy theorist if you say that. And that's exactly what we were telling Julie Brecky. Okay, we're not saying that you're corrupt. What we're saying is that we can't get access to the information we need to prove our side of the argument or not. And you're the only one who has it, and you're not letting us have it. And that's why you can't come to any conclusion.
But then saying that there's no fraud, that's just as bad as people that are saying the opposite.
There's fraud in everything. What doesn't have fraud in it? Everything has fraud. So that's a lie right from the beginning when they say that.
So you're saying that there's DOT has lost $2 billion, but there's no fraud at the DOT. You're saying there's been Medicare fraud and Medicaid fraud. You say there's been, all this fraud, but there absolutely positively is no voter fraud.
Right.
Yeah.
All you guys are saying is, let us prove if there is or not. Just give us the opportunity. No, we're not going to do that. That's scary. Oh, this guy.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute.
When you were talking about the propaganda, So snuck into the National Defense Act was, let me put that back up again.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. Okay, you can go ahead and put it up, or I can put it up.
What the hell happened?
I think I just...
there it is. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, he snuck this into the National Defense Authorization Act in 2013, and basically it modernized the Smith-Mundt Act from 1948. And that act basically said that the media in the United States cannot be used as a method of propaganda against the citizens of the United States. Because the CIA is famous for doing this all over the world. Radio Marty, Radio Free America, so forth and so on. And so now they've been using it against us. And then there's the consolidation of the media empires where, 6 companies or 6 entities own pretty much everything out there. All the cable stations, all the broadcast stations, all the radio stations. Nobody was chirping when the Biden administration allowed George Soros to buy 219 radio stations 3 weeks before the election without any vetting. Normally, when you buy a radio station, it takes forever. But now, in the last minute, George Soros, you want to buy this chain of 219 stations? Go right ahead. We're not even gonna get in the way. So go ahead.
Oh, me and Marty had investors. There were people who were willing to buy a radio license. We had people who were willing to do this, and it was almost impossible to buy a license from the FCC, especially for me and Marty, because we're white guys and we're straight. God forbid that happens. And so you had to have this criteria. You had to be a Muslim. You had to have one leg. You had to be lesbian. You know what I mean? And trans, of course, had to be in there. But that's the only way you could get a license in America. And if you look at who owns the license in just the southern part of Oregon, it's owned mostly by just a very few amount of people. And Bicoastal Media is one of those.
Yeah. So most of the radio stations on the coast of Oregon and California and Washington are owned by Bicoastal Media, a company out of Temecula. They have like 60 stations. And then Oregon Public Broadcasting, they own a bunch of stations as well. And then there are one or two other stations, but they're usually small signal. So, you have like the Christian stations out of like Coquille and North Bend and whatnot. But those aren't really viable stations. They're essentially vanity stations. It's not like you're going to make any money doing it. But when we were looking into buying well, first off, FCC frequency allocations are such that when they put one up for auction, unless you have a one-legged albino Eskimo lesbian on your board, good luck getting the bid through on the frequency license. But but like you said, I mean, it's like, and it takes a long time. You get a construction permit, it takes like 2 years before you can go through all the hoops to get the station to where you're actually broadcasting. And then from that point, it's just the fact that there are a lot of like huge mergers and a lot of like situations where, the George Soroses of the world can come in and buy a whole complex of stations, immediately. Is just like, okay. And then for the rest of us schlubs who have to do it the hard way, it's like a 3-year slog. So,
and what's the worst part is they kill local markets stations that carry, and luckily Bicoastal does this in most of their areas, is they still have people there like Rob, and they have other people there who are still doing that, at least from the local level. But so many of these stations are becoming automized, you know what I mean? And they don't even have humans in there. They just have, canned commercials and canned announcers. And Marty, you used to have one of those stations.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, but we actually had people on our station. So I had a station in South Lake Tahoe, and so we had a morning show where we had real people on there. We had afternoon and evening. I was 7 to midnight every night, but we did local stuff. I mean, there'd be like, we would have local broadcasting, local programming, local news. We'd be doing local events all the time. So it was a local station, and it was, it covered Lake Tahoe. It covered a little bit of Reno. We didn't make a lot of money, but we didn't need a lot of money because you only needed like 25 grand to cover expenses, and we were booking between 30 and 35 grand. And, if it hadn't been for the fact that my main business partner, who never allowed me to look at the books, suddenly succumbed to his gambling addiction, I'd still have a radio station. So
that's a whole other story. Yeah,
that's a big long story about why I don't own a station anymore.
That's like this guy's problem. You know what I mean? There are dogs out there now. These dog breeders. Marty. Maybe your radio partner was like this Kyle Cox guy. I don't know.
He was breeding dogs and selling them while performing bestiality. Yes. Somebody here locally owns a dog that was molested and recorded. Like that's wow. Look at those puppies. Look at those puppies, how they look like, huh?
Yeah, it's a striking resemblance. Dog breeder has taken on a whole different sense there, where it's like, the puppies look exactly like the dad. Wow, I didn't know that genetics work like that. I didn't know you could crossbreed genetics like that.
My dog is in therapy. Why is your dog in therapy? Well, he went through this trainer, and we just found out that he was sexually abused as a puppy, and so now we had to get him puppy psychology. You'll hear this down the road, and I'll have to sue. As the owner of this poor dog, I'll have to sue him for psychiatry and all that stuff.
Well, this is going to be the abuser is the actual victim here, right?
Oh, of course.
Just ask him. Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing. They always try to make them the victims. I saw this was on What's Happening Coos County. They had a picture of two guys walking into a van from behind a 7-Eleven, and they were trying to say that these guys were abandoned golfers and that they were trying to pee on the homeless guy behind 7-Eleven. So immediately, these people are saying how horrible this was, but the picture never showed anything. And how did they even know if they were abandoned golfers? But this is just like the people who take the side of the criminals or the side of the child molester. How can you defend bestiality with dogs? I'm a dog lover, but not that kind.
Yeah, careful how you say that.
He actually does have victim. He is claiming the victim.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, where is it? He has a history that includes adverse childhood experiences, including abuse and which is in his psyche that, and so.
Well, he had no choice. I mean, he had a tough childhood, so he needs to hump dogs and get off on kitty porn. That makes sense, right?
It makes
New world we live in.
Yeah, I grew up with cousins who had a really hard background. They lived in really poor neighborhoods. Their parents were drunks, and they grew up amazingly. I don't think any of them were fucking dogs, and they certainly were, molesting children for all I know. So I don't know why these people always blame the background, and my question is, was it a Saint Bernard that was molesting him? Why the attraction to the dogs?
Uncle Fido. Yeah.
Uncle Fido. I was in the park one day.
I watched way too many Deputy Dog cartoons and Troopy the Dog. There we go. That's what triggered me.
Deputy Dog. Oh, geez, boy. I know there's a joke in there somewhere.
Yeah, for sure there is.
Doug Washington, you watched that election that happened in California. And so, like Marty said, nobody's claiming corruption. Even the president, he basically said, we saw it being stolen. And why? Because it took a week, more than a week, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We really still don't know.
Yeah.
Just the fact that there's a perception that they have a problem in counting the ballots shows that there's a problem. Perception is reality with anything that has to have a standard. Perception is reality with your bank. If your bank has a tendency to lose money, it's not going to stay in business very long. You know what I mean? It's the same with a doctor. If a doctor's killing patients, you're not going to be in business very long. So that's the same kind of theory.
When a company loses confidence, it fails, right? Your people start failing you. Your customers start failing you. When that company fails, everything else starts falling by the wayside. But for some reason in the world of politics, if there's a loss of confidence, you're just told to shut up and move on. And that's how it is. Like when you're refusing to let people see what's really going on and prove your case, that's as close to an admission of guilt without being an admission of guilt as you can have, I feel.
Yeah. No, it totally is. Ezekiel says it does not take this long for Taiwan to publicly count their votes by hand.
Yeah.
And Taiwan is not like it's a heavily populated area. You know what I mean? This is not like there's just a few people there.
Election in Florida. They just did an
Republic of China.
Yeah. They just did an election in Florida, and and it was like, okay, twice as many votes as Los Angeles. And they did it in one day.
Yeah.
It was done. Back like the way it used to be when we did it at the precinct level, and you'd show up and you'd know the people in your precinct. You'd show up at your local school, your local gym, the Grange Hall, whatever. You'd walk in, you'd show your ID. They knew you already. They'd hand you a ballot. You'd go into a booth. You'd fill it out. They'd put it in a lockbox. They'd count all the ballots before they leave the building. They'd take it to a centralized location. Next morning, you had all the answers. And you're like,
and these after hours ballots.
Yeah.
These after hours ballots. Nothing good gets delivered after hours. UPS, USPS, and FedEx don't deliver after hours. You know who does? Well, I guess besides Uber and stuff, drug dealers and bad guys, and apparently ballot counters. It's like this after hour stuff. The old adage, nothing good happens after midnight.
Nothing
after dark, when you're hauling in bags, like right here, satchels of ballots, something is not legit.
And so all we're asking is we want people in there. We want people investigating that, and they're never going to get access to that because they don't want us to see the information. And that's the frustration. That's the frustration. And people who live in Florida, I don't know if they know what it's like to be a Republican, to be a basically we're the resistance in Oregon. Literally, we are the resistance against the communist takeover of this state. And I don't think people realize what we're going through and what happened to California. Them seeing that on national television, I think they're finally starting to wake up and go, now we're getting it. Now we're getting it. Okay.
There's a disconnect, though, because the left coast feels so far removed from the rest of America that when you're in the rest of America and you watch it, it's like you are watching some third world dictatorial regime. It doesn't feel like you're watching America. Oh, it's just California. Oh, it's just Oregon. It's just Washington. So there's a disconnect of they're not part of, going back to that tribalism thing. It doesn't feel real. And I can, talk firsthand, like, oh, those bat crap crazy people in California, look what they're doing. Ha, all right. And you go on with your day.
Yeah.
Whereas here, when we're living it, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. America as we know it is, gosh, I love this country. I love Oregon. I love Washington. I love California. I hate what it's become, and I hate what they're doing to it.
But look at that video we just showed. The only good cracker is a dead cracker. That's happening in Texas, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is happening in Texas, and I think wasn't that in Austin? Austin is already lost. I mean, most people think
long time ago. That's not part of Texas. That's not even.
When I was in high school in Texas back in '82, and we had a queer history teacher, and of course he didn't say he was queer. He didn't have to. He didn't have to tell us. We knew because he would tell us about his lost weekends in Austin, Texas. In Austin, Texas. He would always talk about these lost weekends. And even us as high schoolers, we were like, isn't that where all the gay guys go on the weekend? Because that was where they all headed, because that's where all the gay bars were in Texas. So he would sit there and tell us these stories, and we knew he was queer, but he didn't want to know our sexuality. And he certainly wasn't, dressed up like a drag queen, didn't have to do any performances. So I don't know. It's just getting crazy.
I've never told anybody my sexuality. And guys, maybe it's time for me to come out of the closet here, and maybe I need to share with you. But I'm ashamed to say I'm heterosexual. Maybe I shouldn't be ashamed. Maybe I should have parades, and maybe I should go around from school to school and tell everybody how I'm heterosexual. And maybe there should be a parade. Maybe I should have a special holiday. But I'm gonna have a month. I want a whole month from it. Nobody gives a crap. Nobody gives a crap either way. But they do that nonsense. Hey, look at that guy.
Yeah, I mean.
I thought you were a vaccine sexual.
Yes, a vac sexual. Did you see how mad people were getting? Did you see how mad people were getting at those posts I was making? Yeah. Oh my gosh, like blatantly comedic, sarcastic, paradoxical memes of getting vaccinated. And people, and I have to say, I call a spade, the vast majority of the retarded idiots were from our side of the political aisle. The vast majority of them were people from the right. A lot of people should be sterilized and have the right to vote taken away, and that's on both ends of the political spectrum.
There should be a test. There should be a test.
I've never faked a sarcasm in my life.
No doubt. Oh shit. Marty, did you have anything else? Any more eye candy on the election? Because I'm just disappointed with that whole thing, man.
I thought it was funny that the LA Times posted a thing that said there is no evidence of corruption in this election. And then the next article was essentially showing the people that were going to the homeless areas and paying them to vote. So they basically contradicted their own story at the same, saying there's nothing to see here. Oh, and by the way, look at this. And it's like, I actually have a place in LA, but it's not in the city of Los Angeles. So I don't get a vote in this case. But recently I got an email from them going, make sure that your voter registration is up to date and I'm like, I moved out of California in 2019. Why am I still getting this crap? And you can renew your application. You can renew your license online. And I'm like, I turned my license in. What do you mean I can renew it? And I can get a voter thing online and vote online. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
nothing to see here, citizen. Move along.
I had my hopes up for that election. I actually had my hopes up and was feeling pretty good about it for a while.
Well, actually, I like the whole idea of it because they knew the steal was going to go on, and it was pretty obvious it was going to happen that way. And so that's why they have like all the DOJ people and all the investigators on the ground already. They were there in place long before this election got started because they knew what was going to happen. And the whole idea is they were going to be there to document this. So when somebody goes, well, you don't have evidence, and it's like, oh yes, we do. And as a matter of fact, we're perp walking them now. Would you like to see them? You know,
there were some really good videos of a couple of homeless who said that they got paid.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, wow, you're watching the steal go down. It's like, is this incredible or what? But okay, I'm not Plantner. I'm thinking of the Nazi. What was the guy's name in California? Pratt.
Man.
Pratt.
Okay, Pratt was exciting. He was thrilling. He had some really good ideas, and he really knew how to express himself. That's the kind of candidate we need here. And what we have is Christine Drazen, and I'm going to support her all the way. But it's not. It's like we're getting like. We don't even get the second or third tier politician. I wish Christine would learn how to rap or something. I don't know. I don't really want to see it, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna try to play a video here. So let me see if I can share the screen and make it work. This may not work, so we'll see. Select the window. X. Allow. Share. And I don't know if you're going to get the audio from this, so before presenting, what does it say? Remove other media.
Okay.
Do I have
hold on. Let me remove other media.
Oh, okay. There we go. So let me see if I can play this and you get the audio. I don't know if the audio is going to come through or not, but so this is Pratt himself.
Yeah, we're not getting that audio.
You're not getting audio?
No.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah, but that was a good commercial.
Okay, well, let me go ahead. You can go ahead and stop sharing that then.
I mean, he's unconventional, right? Like he's a disruptor, and that's what we need are disruptors. The status quo, and again here I'm going to sound absolutely horrible, but I'm kind of tired of women in politics. I'll be honest with you. And I don't want to say some hardcore redneck guy. I don't want some, but I'm kind of the same old isn't working.
Yeah.
Well, how many times a year can they try and raise our taxes and everybody in Oregon still love them?
Yeah, right. They don't care. They don't care as long as, and I guess again we go back to that tribalism thing too. Okay, because let's look at that. You're right. Like they don't care. Like I'll just pay more because it's for social justice. And then on the other end of it, I look at what's happening with Iran. I look how it's affecting our fuel prices right now, and I hate that it's happening, and I'm angry that it's happening, and I wish Trump would just get it fixed and figured out. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, I'll pay it because I genuinely know in my heart that we need to fix this problem that's been allowed to lament for decades and decades and decades. So there is kind of that, people on the left, if their own people said, we're going to chop up babies and use them for barbecue, they'd go, it's the right thing to do. And until we get away from that tribalistic mentality, I don't think we'll ever change. I don't think we'll ever change.
Yeah. I get that. And it's sad because, if we had a really good non-affiliated voter, an independent guy, who's not in a party, who ran, I would totally back that person if they had the values that I had. I really wouldn't give a damn what party they were in. If they were someone like Pratt, if they were someone who was like Donald Trump, party doesn't mean shit to me when it comes to actually changing the country. And that's the mentality I don't understand so many people get into. And recently becoming a Republican, recently taking back the party, from a captive group. It's something that we worked really hard on. And, but even so, I'm still going to support the guy. I don't care what parties, even if there was a Democrat, I don't see this ever happening, but could you imagine a Democrat coming out who was, well, like Fetterman? You know what I mean?
I was going to say, yeah.
Fetterman, you know, I think that stroke did him good. I think all Democrats should have a stroke.
I want one of those.
I want one.
If it fixes me that well, I want one of those as well.
They should. Maybe we should, you know, like go to the View and try to induce the stroke to the ladies there.
My eyes twitching just talking about it.
Yeah. Yikes! My eyes are watering now because I just thought bad things.
You can't tell me Whoopi's head doesn't stink. You can't tell me Whoopi's head doesn't stink.
Well, you know, it's that aroma. What can I say? Pratt also made it about the people versus political party, has a genuine foundation, but it's not everything. And I think that's really true, too. I think he was, because there are plenty of Republicans, and I'm sure it's true in California, who are not really conservative. They're really not playing fair with their party. You know, they come back to their district. They say, oh, yeah, I did all kinds of good things, but they really don't because no one checks their record. And so this is the problem that we also have is people don't really do the homework they need to vote for somebody. They're depending on that D or that R after somebody's name.
Yes.
So that they can go, well, that's the person I want because that's the brand I use, Coke or Pepsi.
Yeah. You know, Ford, Chevy, Dodge, whatever. It's the same thing. Again, it's that tribalistic mentality. You just get pigeonholed. You get that tunnel vision, and you can't deviate from it. I don't know how to change that. I don't think you can.
I don't know how to change that either.
Let me throw this up here. So
please do.
You're talking about gas prices, and I just want to show you this picture.
Yes.
From Gas Buddy a little while ago. So look at this.
Shit.
So look at the swing of gas prices in the United States, and you got to realize it's the same oil supply, it's the same, it's the same setup, it's the same president. The only thing that's different is the governors. So look at how yellow the West Coast is. That's not because there's issues shipping the oil to the West Coast.
Thank you. I'm so tired of hearing that.
Yeah, it's not. It's because they have it set up this way. They are trying to extract the most amount of pain to make it look like it's Trump's fault. Now, here's the thing. The Strait of Hormuz is not closed by Iran. Iran would be stupid to close the Strait of Hormuz because that's the only way they make money right now. Iran can't get oil out anymore because we closed the Strait of Hormuz.
Right.
We have the Strait of Hormuz under control, and not only that, the area around it. So the whole idea is Iran has to stop pumping oil now because Karg Island has no more storage and they've got no tankers going out. They're not making any money because the tankers can't go out. They can't store any more oil because they're full. What happens? They turn off when you pump oil, if you turn off the oil pump, it's almost impossible to get it restarted because of what happens when you shut it down. So essentially, this is a negotiating tactic to basically break them economically so they can't do because they will not, under any circumstances, will these terrorists ever negotiate. Their whole idea is we don't negotiate because we only negotiate. We don't negotiate because negotiation means weakness. And the Western, the United States has been weak for so long that we're just going to pretend like we're going to negotiate.
Yep.
And that's what's been happening for a long time. Now Trump is going, yeah, you know what? Here's how I negotiate. I'm going to break your back. How do you like them? And the whole point is then right now, as of this week, the United States is the world's #1 oil exporter. We just surpassed Russia. And we just surpassed Saudi Arabia. So we are #1. So if the gas prices are high, it's not because of lack of oil. It's because of manipulation. And it's like, is it the oil companies? I'm betting no. I'm betting it's other people that are doing it. But the whole thing is I'm happy to pay a little extra dollar, a couple extra bucks at the pump if it means we break 47 years of terrorism. So I'm good with that.
And you're right. We have been weak. We have been a weakened nation for too long now. We finally have a man with some testosterone and a spine, and it's kind of nice. It's a welcome feeling. But maybe Iran and maybe our enemies are just, we'll just ride it out for a couple more years. We'll see what happens in the next election. We just only have to put up with this for so much longer, and then maybe we get somebody new. We get a change of regime. I don't know if that's a mindset or not.
And you get
Ezekiel.
the gas taxes in Oregon are like what, 40 something cents. I mean, or whatever the gas tax is, and meanwhile, back in Des Moines, Iowa, it's $2.13. So let's go.
Yeah. And people don't realize how much gas is, all the people, Perry knows this all too well. His entire family their businesses run on diesel. You know what I mean? That chipper probably does that run on diesel, but all the other stuff runs on diesel and stuff. And so they know they're taking it at the pump, but they do realize, I think most of them do, that this is a president who has balls of steel, and he's going to go in there and do what he needs to be done. And this isn't going to be a 20-year war. The other thing that people may not realize is that the Arab Emirate, the UAE, has a huge pipeline that wasn't there just a couple of years ago. A huge pipeline that bypasses the Strait of Hormuz. And so that gives him a lot more leverage than presidents had in the past. And two, I think they understand if President Trump wants to, he'll take the strait. The only reason he hasn't taken the strait is that it's a definite declaration of war, and that's what they're going to use against him. And I don't think he has to use that because the pressure, like Marty said, economically is just tearing him up.
Yeah. Well, and then war with what? I mean, we essentially eviscerated their whole Navy, their whole Air Force, their whole radar system. I mean, and we basically right now we're dealing with mullahs that are used to just being terrorists and biding time. It's like, okay, we'll just pretend like we're going to negotiate. And, when they nuked or I guess nuke is not a good word for it, but when they blew up the enrichment facilities, the uranium enrichment facilities, they turned them into smoldering piles of dirt.
Yep.
What they said is we want all the uranium dust from those locations. And why do they want the uranium dust? They were enriching uranium not because they were doing nuclear power plants. You only need to enrich uranium to like 20% for that. You got to get really good uranium for bombs. So they already had missiles that could deliver a bomb anywhere in Europe or anywhere in the Middle East, or actually, if they worked on it with a little bit of help from North Korea and China, they could probably send one to LA or New York City. But the whole point is they were getting close to getting enough enriched uranium to do a nuclear warhead.
That's right.
And we took out those facilities. Well, the thing is every bit of uranium has a signature of where it was mined and who processed it before they got hold of it. The reason they want all that uranium dust is they are going to show that uranium came through Obama and Hillary Clinton, and that's how it got there. So they are lining up. Everybody's complaining. It's like, well, there's all this crime, there's all this corruption. They stole the 2020 election. Yeah, why don't we see people getting arrested? I'm going, well, the whole problem here is they're doing this all by the rule of law, and they're doing this. They're not just like the J6ers where they're throwing them in jail and coming up with charges later. Right. No, this is where they are meticulously putting together these cases so they will be airtight and they will be doing. I mean, the nice thing about treason and sedition is that there is no statute of limitations. So they can be working on this for a long time. Now, would I like to see some arrests right darn now? But, you got to realize there's a long plan going on here, and it's being executed in a good way. And I'm hoping we're going to see this. I mean, oil prices are going to be dropping like a rock in, not a rock, the country, but dropping like a brick in the next couple of months. And you just got to hold on and realize there is a plan in place. And the fact that the media is screaming and yelling about every little thing to distract you shows you that they're getting really upset about the fact that their phony baloney system for running everything in the world is being dismantled, and they're really peeved.
You know, and it goes, everything he's done is led up to exactly what you're saying. I mean, starting with, after he went after USAID, who is funding so many of those nonprofit, non-governmental organizations, it's dried them up.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah. And so he took out billions of dollars that were funding these crazy leftists and globalists. And then you got to realize the fact that he goes after Venezuela, because Venezuela is part of the drug cartel chain network from China to the Mexican drug cartels. And also they are part of the voting system scandal. They're communist and they're dealing with the Chinese. He went after the drug cartel. He really weakened the hell out of them. He got Mexico fighting against their own cartels now, and that helped them out. They went after Cuba because Cuba is also part of that chain of network of criminal countries. And then, of course, he taxed the head of the snake, which is Iran. And really, all of this is because of what China wants to do to us. This really goes to the bigger picture of China, the globalists, the communists, who really want to do America in. They're doing us in from within. This is why they give us billions, trillions of dollars for higher education and K through 12 education. This is why they fund so many programs in the United States. This is why they wanted all those illegal immigrants, so they commit all those frauds. And look where all the fraud went to, Somalia. I guarantee you a lot of that money that hit Somalia went to other Muslim countries to fund terrorism. Guaranteed.
Guaranteed. Marty, to your point earlier, you can't undo decades in days.
Oh, I know.
You're saying just hold the line. And I think people don't understand that. Everybody wants an immediate fix because we're in that culture where everything has to be an immediate fix. I would love to see him have another 4, but I'd say I'd love to see him have another 4 years. He's at an age where I think it's time. I'm a Rubio fan. I love Rubio. I could listen to Rubio talk forever. I need to follow more what his actual background is and more of his actual political beliefs. But I think he would be a good one to carry on what we have going on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Rubio, JD Vance. I mean, a lot of the people that have been put in positions. Essentially, he the first 4 years, he was basically doing let's find out who's bent by putting them in a position and see what they do. Now that he's got a lot of that worked out, he's got some of the best in these positions. So you got Seth, you got JD Vance, you got Rubio, and then what he's doing is, since the Senate and the House are not allowing him to do confirmations, it's basically, I will put them in as, in a temporary thing where they're good for, I think it's 120 days or whatever.
Right.
And then he'll just swap it out and put somebody else in as the temp, so long as they are going to be doing what the game plan is. Everybody seems to be on the same page. And, so when you see people coming in and out of their positions, it's because it's planned that way, because you don't have to go through Senate confirmation hearings if you do it this way.
When you look at the top 10 Democrats who, and I don't even think there's 10 of them, who would run for president, we've got 10 Republicans who are qualified candidates who could actually run for that position and do a hell of a job. I think that speaks for itself. And I think that comes from the recruitment that Trump did, is that we have guys like Hegseth, like Rubio, like Vance. And I guarantee you Vance will go on. He's a very strong vice president, but who is he going to pick for his vice president? You know what I mean? And there are a lot of good choices, and Rubio would be a damn good pick for that. You know what I mean? Maybe he'll go for a wild card, put Tess Gabbard in there, or someone, else that's just off the wall.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, gentlemen, I don't know. It's been an interesting show. Let's see. We went from bestiality to dog screwing to international global politics. Perry's an expert in all of this.
We should talk recipes one of these days.
Yeah, there we go. I've got some great recipes. I've got a Chinese cookbook, 101 ways to walk your dog.
Forward by Kyle Cox.
Forward by Kyle Cox. Yeah, there you go. That is funny. I could see that. I'm going to write up that forward myself by Kyle Cox. It was a warm summer day, and I saw that Cocker Spaniel sitting by the river.
Our eyes met. Oh.
She slobbered in my lap. I had to respond.
There was
It's
a
good we
jar
can
of
joke
peanut
about it.
butter in the counter.
Talking about gallows humor here. Yikes.
Oddly enough, the dog's name was Jiffy.
Oh boy.
Oh, man.
Rain says in the kitchen with Doug Washington. Yes, that's what we need.
With Doe Washington, not Doug.
Oh, Doug.
Washington.
There, she corrected it.
No, I actually like Doug Washington better. Doe Washington.
Doe Washington. Yep.
Oh shit, man.
Well, I appreciate you having me, Rob. Like I say it's been a long time coming.
On. Yeah, we need to do that. I got to ask you a question before you get out of here. What happened with you selling the fish? You were selling, or not? You weren't even selling. No. You were giving away.
No, giving it away. Well, I can still do it, but I have to fill out a transfer of wildlife form for every single piece I do. So if I were to give each of you three a piece of, so if I went out fishing today and I caught 3 fish and I want to share with you, I would have to write out a form that tells where I caught it, when I caught it, what the species is, and I'd have to present that to each and every one of you. Even though, let's make it more absurd. But realistic. If I wanted to give you guys a pepperoni stick from an elk we shot 3 years ago that's been in my freezer for 3 years, I would have to fill out that form. There is no expiration on when that wildlife gets transferred. So if I've got a pepperoni stick, a steak, a piece of fish from 50 years ago, my great-grandfather willed me this piece of fish that he caught 50 years ago in Coos Bay and gave it to me. And it's all desiccated and nasty, but I want to share it with you guys because we're going to make some kind of fish jerky out of it. I will be committing a crime unless I fill out a wildlife transfer form. You want to talk about overreach of government. And I'm still going to at some point get before the ODFW commission. I think we had sickness. We had all kinds of different stuff. There was a couple of days we were going to do it. But I think it's one of those things that we can realistically present to them. We need to make this go away. Like from the water to the house. Yeah, let's have a form. If I give you my fish and we're fishing together, have that chain of custody. Okay, they're more worried about chain of custody of a pepperoni stick than they are ballots in the state of Oregon. How's that for absurdity?
I was just thinking as you were talking about the chain of custody.
Yes, such a ding.
I don't know where the hell my ballot goes once I throw it in the mailbox, but damn it, this 50-year-old piece of fish that I've been saving, and that you could probably find some fish in my freezer that's probably at least 7, 8 years old. I guarantee it. I haven't been in there in a while. And so, yeah, I could see that happening. I was going to do a meme, you dressed as Jesus and feeding the masses with fish, and then ODFW, as Pontius Pilate coming down and I was going to venerate you, and not in the way that Kyle Cox would do a dog,
Oh no, that's he venerates him real good. Just making up words. Oh shoot!
One thing I wanted to bring up. We were talking about mail-in ballots and in vote by mail, IP37 and stuff like that. But there was an executive order that came out just recently that basically said if the United States Postal Service doesn't get the voter list from the state for their vote by mail of verified voters, then the USPS cannot deliver those ballots. And everybody goes, well, that's illegal. He can't tell the USPS to do that. And I'm going, hold on. The United States Postal Service is a federal agency and an independent establishment of the executive branch of the government of the United States, as explicitly stated in federal law, 39 U.S.C. 201. So anybody that's saying, oh, this judge is going to stop it, like I think Rayfield is like, I'm going to get a judge and we're going to stop this. I'm going, you can't. It's part of the executive branch. You have zero influence on this. And so basically, if they don't turn over verified voter lists, and the United States Postal Service already puts barcodes on everything they send out. As a matter of fact, if you can look at your clear ballot, it's got a unique QR code. Every single one of those ballots has a unique code on it. I haven't been able to break the code to figure out if it ties back to me personally, but I suspect it does, because when we looked at ballots for Washington County, Douglas County, and Coos County, every single ballot had a unique QR code. So it's not by accident that this happens.
And
But
didn't we
anyway.
buy barcoders? Didn't someone in the group buy barcoders and tried to decode it, and nobody could decode that damn thing?
Yeah, and then the other one, so basically, this is a good thing for us because the United States Postal Service, they have behind the scenes over the last couple of months have been changing a lot of upper management there. So their board of directors and whatnot has been slowly changing, and now there is a way that is basically the United States Postal Service cannot be used to deliver ballots unless they get a verified voter list. And the United States Postal Service can verify that these people are where they are and those addresses do exist. And they will put codes on each and every one of them so that you can't mysteriously add ballots anywhere in the chain. So this is a good thing. And, I'm like going, this might actually be the way, even if they're going to retain vote by mail, this is a way that we can fix it so that only people that are, valid to vote can vote. Because there's two things out there. There's called you've heard of HAVA, the Help America Vote Act, but there's also a thing called HAVV, which is the Help America Verify Voter system that can be used to verify voters. And then there's the SSOLV, which is the Social Security online voter verification system, which basically can say, yes, they are a citizen and yes, they are a voter in this area. But they don't use those. They don't use those on purpose. But now they will be using those because if if they're not going to deliver it by the USPS, how are you going to get your ballot? Well, right now the USPS is run by the executive branch, and so they're going to have to follow orders.
Yeah, I
So
thought that was
think
pretty
this is-
unique. And the other thing that's going to be coming out soon is that the Supreme Court is going to be ruling on whether the states that have vote by mail can accept ballots after the day of after the election day. That's going to be huge.
That's gonna be
that'll
interesting. I'm very interested in that.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, I think here we go. Ezekiel, it says, if I get messed up dreams, I'm blaming both the Robs. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, man.
How much is that doggy in the window?
Yeah. How much is that doggy in the window? Where are you at? Amsterdam? Damn.
How much is that doggy in the window?
Oh, who's ready for the heat wave? Yeah.
I swear that dog's flirting with me.
Doug's got to
ready
go.
for the heat
Doug,
wave.
I want to thank you for being here, man. I appreciate it.
I got to be up at 4, and I
All
cancel
right.
stuff. This was so important. I want to thank you for having me, gentlemen. Always a pleasure. Good seeing you. And if I was a little off color, it's all y'all's fault. It's never my fault. I'm a victim.
You're a victim.
You're the victim here.
It was the vaccine. You got.
It was one of many. One of many. All right. Take care, guys.
You take care. All right. And that was Doug Washington. Perry, you've been quiet over there in the corner. What are you doing, man?
Yeah. Oh, just overthinking everything.
Well, join the club.
My biggest, that whole, we have to keep mailing ballots going because it to get more people to vote. But then when you look back at Oregon's history of what percentage of people vote each year, it's not.
Yeah.
It doesn't match up to that, what they're saying.
It's so convenient so people can use it because we'll get more turnout. I'm like going, like we got 22% in the last election.
Right.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, how much lower can you be with in-person voting? And then you look back at it and more people were voting back then.
Yeah. I mean, in the primary, and I can pull up the exact numbers, but in the primary, it was like we did get like 40% turnout, which, okay, for a primary is pretty good.
That's pretty good.
But the whole thing is if you look at some of the races, it's like the clerk race, the commissioner race, and the M120 thing all clocked in at about 11,000, 12,000 votes. out of the 22,000 ballots that were returned. So we have 65,000 people in the county, and we got 20,000 ballots returned. And of the 20,000 ballots, we got 11,000 ballots, or 88% of the people that mailed a ballot back voted for commissioner, clerk, or M120. Governor's races, not so much. Senators, judges, who? No. But those three races were just, those three races were chock full. And I was like, that's pretty interesting that 80 to 90% of the people that returned ballots decided to vote in those three races. Well, in the Measure 120, which is the no tax thing. But yeah.
That is kind of weird.
I mean, I'm not making any accusations. We're talking allegedly it's weird, but I just thought, wow, it's, I'm not crying over spilt milk. I got 3,000 votes. Woo. Everybody loves me. Is that even
but the thing is you got 3,000 out of 20, when there could have been 43,000 people voting, but half of them, more than half, 60% of them said, screw it, I'm staying home.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I got 3,500 out of 11,000. So, but still doesn't matter. But is that how you spell allegedly? Or are we allegedly spelling allegedly now?
Is that how you spell allegedly? Did I misspell
I have to look it up now.
Allegedly. I don't know. I thought that's how you spelled it.
I think there's two L's at the start. Allegedly. Doesn't matter.
Well, there's two L's?
Yeah.
I'll have to edit that.
Well, we are allegedly spelling allegedly. So.
Oh, there we go. Here we go. I got it. Okay, there we go. See, that's nice. You can make that correction right there on the screen.
Mm-hmm. Super.
There's two L's all edgedly. It just doesn't look right to me.
Yeah, I just looked it up because I didn't think it looked right. And then I looked at it this way and I'm going, that doesn't look right either. So maybe we should change it to supposedly. And then we'll never get that one spelled correctly.
Oh, shit. So, Perry, what's anything exciting happening in your world as far as any new adventures, anything you're doing?
Not really. I'm always working on getting things set up. Nothing really active going on. There's people I've tracked down and watched for a while, but nothing to really talk about. It's been pretty quiet for what I can do.
Well, I know that video that you did. I think it was the video of the ballot that you did got a huge amount of views.
Yeah.
That was impressive.
Yeah, and not saying anything. Well, like what Rob did, I made a sarcastic joke and it blew up. That's all I did.
Yeah. Sarcasm, right?
Yeah, that's all it takes.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a good thing because it got so many hits. I was really impressed and very proud that you did that because that's what gets people's interest. You know what I mean? I scroll by and I see so much crap on my phone. You know what I mean? And those what do they call them? Reels. God, I go through that. It's like I realize, wow, has it been 30 minutes, 40 minutes? I've been doing this. Holy shit. But that was a cool one that kept coming up. And that's how people start to realize, well, maybe there is a problem, because it does get around.
And that's all I want. Just admit that it just doesn't look right. Just don't be so convinced that there's nothing going on at all, no matter what.
Right.
It's not extreme.
Did Brecky comment or say anything to you?
Didn't say anything to me, and I don't know about comments because that was way too many to keep track of.
Okay.
Oh, gotcha.
I don't know either, because there were a lot of comments and I didn't go through them all either. But yeah, I was just wondering. I could see here, oh, Perry, you're just spreading mis and disinformation and all that good stuff.
Well,
yeah.
When I called, what, 2 years ago or 4 years ago, telling her that I got the wrong ballot, I was wrong too, even though I'm in the county and got a city ballot. So I can only imagine what
I remember
you guys
that.
deal with, you know. I mean, I'm in the county. There's no debating this. And you're going to tell me I'm wrong. Okay.
I remember that. I remember her doing that. And it was like, are you freaking seriously? This is a woman who believes she is never wrong. And I called her the arbiter of truth. And she goes, I never said I was the arbiter of truth. And I felt like writing back, no, you just act like it.
Yeah. Oh,
Well, and I'm one person.
Yeah.
I'm one person, and I see all these problems that are happening to me.
Yeah.
There's got to be people that see even more happen to them.
Oh, me and Marty were at the fair, and I think at least every day we heard someone tell some type of story.
A couple times a day, I went out and canvassed. We canvassed like 90-something locations because we took the voter rolls, we looked at it and said, look, there's 8 people registered at a single address. It's a single family home. It's not like an apartment building or something like that. And don't get me started with the Devereaux Center, how many are rented there or registered there. But so we would just go out to that place and say, hey, we're doing election integrity work. We're kind of curious about, it says there are 8 people that are registered to vote here. And they go, well, let me look at that list. So it's like, okay, that's me. That's my wife. We've been here for 10 years. I don't know who the other 6 people are. I said, did you get ballots for him? He's going, well, no, but I don't know who they are. Or, yeah, that was a person that lived here 10 years ago. So, but this is like, we went to like 90, almost 100 places, and every single place that somebody answered the door and would talk to us had the exact same message. It's like, I don't know who that person is. Or, yeah, they lived here a couple of years ago, but,
So
but there's certainly nothing wrong with the voter rolls.
Here's a better question. How many are still being delivered to the Devereaux Center at 1200 Newmark?
Yeah.
Because it's shut down here.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, and it actually gets, I looked at the registration for 1200 Newmark, and it's now being sent to a PO box. So there are still people registered at the Devereaux Center, even though the Devereaux Center isn't a thing, but now the mailing address is a PO box. So I don't know where it's going now.
Nothing to see here, folks. Nothing happening.
Here.
They're going to make excuses for a child pornographer who screws dogs. We're going to make excuses for him, but don't believe that anyone would actually be so vile or disgusting to cheat in a voter election. Like Tim Tuttle. I mean, what are the odds of that? People goes, well, you have no proof of cheating. You find proof. No doubtedly, it's proof. You got the evidence. He voted in this election the same time he voted in that election in 2 different counties. You have the proof, and they still say, oh, you're just spreading mis and disinformation. Like, shit, man.
Yeah. She was yelling at me in the hallway a couple of elections ago, when the United States Postal Service lost 990 ballots.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't bother to tell anybody until a couple of days before the election closed. And I happened to be in Coquille going to a commissioner's meeting on that election day. So I said, oh, I will just walk my ballot over to the elections office and turn it in. Ha ha. And then so I walked up there, and there was like a dozen people standing in line. And so I didn't want to cut line. So I basically just said, hey, are you standing in line? I'm just here to turn in my ballot. They said, oh, we're kind of just waiting around. We never got a ballot, and we need to get a ballot. And then the other 10 people in line turned around and said, yeah, the exact same thing. So we're just kind of hanging around. So feel free to walk to the head of the line. And as I was talking to somebody, I said, oh, too bad I didn't bring my laptop with me. I could have told you exactly what your registration address is, and maybe they got your address wrong. And as I said that, Brecky comes storming up to the window, screaming through the window, going, Marty, you can't be here. What are you doing here? You got to get out of here. I'm going to call the sheriff and get him out. I'm like going, hey, lady, it's a public building. I can be here if I want to. It's like, well, you're spreading misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. I'm going, no, actually, I was talking to this citizen about the voter rolls. So if you're saying that the voter rolls are disinformation, then you actually have a big problem now, don't you? Because it's your voter rolls that I'm talking about. And she's like, well, what the hell are you doing here? You got to get out of here. And I'm like, no, I don't. But I'm just here to turn in my ballot. Well, give me the damn ballot and get out of here. I'm like, okay. So I handed her my ballot. And as I'm walking away, everybody in line is going, wow, I like that interaction. Good job.
Yeah, but you're talking about a dozen people out of 980. So another 968 just pretty much got screwed.
Yeah, I mean, and then I tried to FOIA the United States Postal Service, and boy, if you think it's tough getting information out of the county clerk, try the USPS. Wow, that was.
We'll have to call Mr. Trump. We'll have to call the president.
Yeah, they finally got back to me and said, yes, we admitted, we know where the problem happened, and we know why it happened, and it won't happen again. And by the way, we're not going to tell you any of this information because part of the FOIA request system for the USPS is if an upper management individual is embarrassed by the outcome, we don't have to reveal it. I'm going, what kind of screwed up system is that? So it's like, oh, it's going to embarrass my boss, so I can't tell you. I'm like, okay, thanks, guys.
I think they have the same policy at 3H Tree Service. We just, if it embarrassed us, we're not going to tell you people, damn it.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Nobody has complained about our service, has lived to tell about it. I mean, nobody's complained about our service.
Nobody has complained about our service.
We have to clean the chipper shredders so often.
Let me tell you, their chipper shredder, when they were overdoing my mother-in-law's yard, I went over there to help out, and I threw in this tree, and I didn't let go of it quite as quickly as I should have, and I mean, this was like a huge section of the tree, and that thing just nearly sucked me right into that sucker. It was like, holy shit, man.
Yeah,
I don't know how that child molester got in there, sir. He was holding on to a branch.
So anyway, 3H Tree Service, they are licensed, and they will come out and, well, did you know that 3H Tree Service is Coos County's, has an arbor license from the Oregon Landscape Contractor Board? They strive to stay current. But anyway, 3H Tree Service, you need a tree cut down, you need some stuff cleaned up, you can get a free estimate. Tree removal, tree trimming, lot clearing, 541-294-1800. That's 541-294-1800. That's 3H Tree Service. Look at the guy in the upper left-hand corner. Doesn't he look familiar? Well, he certainly does.
One badass dude, let me tell you. And they remove those trees with surgical precision. I mean, I've just been blown away by the videos. Just incredible stuff. Go to 3H Tree Service on Facebook, and they'll tell you more. But I've got other sponsors.
It's Tom and Gigs. If you need your car repaired or you want to have your car checked before going on a long trip, go to Tom and Gigs. They're at 135 South Stoneman Street in Coos Bay, or it's kind of in the Empire area. They have also lift kits and performance accessories. Tom and Gigs, that's where you go to get your car right. Your ride's worth it. They got quality products and expert installation. But not only do they do real cars, but they have RC cars, RC planes, RC boats, RC helicopters. If you need RC stuff, Tom and Gigs has that too. So get over there to 135 South Shoneman Street in Coos Bay, and the number is 541-888-4660. That's 541-888-4660.
And you can get some tannerite there. I mean,
that's right. But you got to be 18 to buy tannerite.
You do have to be 18.
You got to be 21 to smoke pot, but you got to be 18 to buy tannerite. What's that tell you? Tannerite's safer than pot.
Tannerite is safer than pot. I think you've exposed something here, Marty. I never thought of it that way.
I never made that connection before.
So maybe it's because I visit Herbal Choices before I go get the tannerite. That's the problem.
There you go.
You can top a tree with tannerite.
You can top a tree with tannerite. Mm-hmm. I've seen some people do some interesting things with tannerite. Yes.
Shrapnel everywhere. If you'd like free sawdust, Put tannerite in your tree. So anyway, another one of the sponsors is Herbal Choices Premium Cannabis in Coastal Oregon. Discover quality, shop responsibly, experience the difference. You got to be 21 years or older. ID is required. I actually went in there just to walk in because Rob was buying gummies or something. And they're like, let's see your ID. And I'm going, I'm not buying anything. They're like, well, we got to see your ID anyway. I'm like, okay, here you go.
And it was all for medicinal purposes.
Yes. And then Dollar General IDs me as well. And I'm like going, what, the drinking age 65 now? What the hell?
Anyway. And remember, this is a drug. Do not give it to children. And that goes for you child pornographers. Don't give it to children. You're sick, so don't do that. But don't drink and drive. Use this drug and drive, and don't use heavy equipment. You know, like that chipper that we were talking about. You can't use that and smoke pot because you might go in before the pedo, and that's going to cause problems.
Yeah, the cleanup on that is just horrible. Anyway, and Herbal Choices has 5 convenient locations in Coos Bay, North Bend, Reedsport, Bandon, and the other place.
North Bend, Coos Bay, Reedsport, Bandon, and
Charleston.
Charleston.
Charleston, yeah, right next to Eglin Marine.
Right next to Eglin Marine. That road is really screwed up, man. That road is really screwed up for Eglin Marine.
Oh, I haven't been out there recently, so...
Well, I think the county came out and laid some gravel out there finally because they didn't have the money to fix it. But that road was so bad, people were taking their boats to go get them repaired. And by the time they got down the road, it was even in worse condition than before.
But the boat repair shop loved it because they'd come in just for a tune-up and then they'd have major damage by the time they got there.
Don't fix the road, man. Don't fix the road.
Fix the road. It's increasing our business. Oh, man.
Oh, shit. I want to thank you guys for being on. I appreciate it. And anything you'd like to say, Perry, before I get you out of here?
Oh, people start doing what they need to do. Step up a little bit.
Step up a little bit.
Clean things up.
I'd agree. Well, you have a good day, sir.
You too.
All right, man.
Yeah,
Marty, anything important that you'd like to say before I get you out of here?
Well, I can. There, let me put this up real quick to see. Add to stage. Boink. So anyway, I just wanted to touch on how false premises work. So Democrats specialize in false premise. It's the key to their entire political strategy. They use the media to create a false premise, and they back it up with fake polling, and then they use other members of the media to create a consensus by agreeing with the false premise as if it is now established as an accepted fact. So now you've created a new fact out of thin air and refer to that fact as the premise for all future fake news. So this is how that system works. And I just wanted to kind of touch on how a false premise works. Every time Brecky says, oh, Dr. Frank's date has been debunked, I'm like going, no, it's not. As a matter of fact, you brought in, Gedry, and you brought in the hired gun, Grimmer, from Stanford to debate Dr. Frank, and Grimmer used the exact same data. He used his methodology to work on it, and he came up with the exact same curve, which in statistics, if you match the curve, you have proven you have proven that data is correct. So not only did Grimmer not debunk Dr. Frank, but he actually proved Dr. Frank was correct.
Totally.
But they keep pushing the whole idea that, that's been debunked. I'm like, no, it has not. That is a false premise. And you're using that false premise with consensus of other people that say, it's been debunked, to say, well, it's truthful because now we have 10 people telling the exact same lie. So anyway.
And for anyone who needs verification, as a gentleman who's been in politics for a long damn time, this is what we would do in politics. When I was helping out a legislator, and there were 2 here in Oregon I used to help out many, many years ago. But when I lived in New Mexico, I did this for the governor. We'd write him an article. And I'd write him an article with specific information in there that I wanted to get out to the public. And so, you know how they, senators and stuff, they'll send out their newsletter stating these things in their article. And then I would take the article that was sent out by the politician that I actually wrote or helped write or made sure the information was in that I could re-quote as if, they were stating something that I wasn't going to state anyway, but I have now created another person to give me validity for what I'm saying, because then I can say, well, not only am I saying it, but so is Governor so-and-so or Senator or Representative so-and-so. They're saying it as well. Here it is in their article. Yeah. And so that's how that narrative gets created in politics. And someone who hasn't been in politics might not realize that's how the circle jerk works.
It's exactly how it works. Yeah. And the thing is this whole time, I mean, for the 4 some odd years I've been doing this, at no point have I said, I think this is corrupt. I think there's something hinky going on. Right. All I want to do is prove that there's nothing going on. So if I look at the data and I find out that the data proves that everything is clean, I'll say, hey, you know what? I can verify it. Everything is clean. Let me look at the log files. Everything's clean. I'm fine. Everything's clean. I was curious. I was suspicious. And now my suspicions are allayed. And it's like, nope, I'm just even more suspicious now. So, yeah. And one thing you don't want to do with the data guy is make him more suspicious, which means I'm just going to keep digging. So that's what I do.
I totally get that. And but then that's what it's like what's the old expression? It's an itch on your brain you just can't scratch. And that's what we're doing. It's like we're junkies chasing that next high. I know it's there, man. I just know it's there. And but then that's Marty, that's what keeps us going though. I mean, busy.
Keeping busy,
And we will be doing, hopefully next week, I'll try to find out some events and we'll do something big on next Saturday for NVBM. For all of you who are still looking to sign that, let's see, I think we still have it at the headquarters, and we're open from 2 to 6 Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and 10 to noon on Thursday. Oh, and excellent. We have the 5 petitions, but they just called back 4 of those petitions. 3 of those petitions, because Ed Deal and company, I don't know what they did, but I just got an email. I haven't read it all, but they said they're pulling the petitions. And it kind of makes me mad. Well, I know it makes me mad that they didn't push that end vote by mail and get it done.
Yeah, I mean, the 130-odd thousand signatures they got for no tax, if they'd just done 10%, 20%,
right? If
they had allowed people to take signatures for all the measures, then end vote by mail would already be on the ballot. I mean, it would already have enough signatures to be on the ballot. And that's the whole point. I mean, we're not, the whole point of this is asking the question, what do people think of vote by mail? I hate it when, Rayfield, AG Rayfield gets up there, or Toby gets up there in his position as SOS and basically says, everybody thinks it's safe, secure, and transparent. I'm going, everybody who? I tell you what, put IP37 on the ballot and let people say what they think themselves. Right. You can't, you have no proof that everybody thinks it's okay. So do IP37 and we'll see if it's okay.
Did you see that video of from the Geyer show?
Oh yeah.
Did you see that? Yeah. Let me play that real quick, because this is voter interference. I'll let you explain. I'm going to show the video and then we'll recap after the video.
COVID spread from you. Don't touch my camera. Do not touch my camera. I'm on a public property. If you don't like to be filmed, you can walk away. You just said something pretty radical. You said COVID is spread through us killing and eating animals. Can you please explain that?
That humans ate bats. That is what the story that I heard. And that's
actually, it was gain of function research that was in a lab conducted by Anthony Fauci.
All right.
Stop lying to these people, guys. The people, look, they crossed out the signature because she didn't even tell them.
Those are people's private information.
Well, you're on a public property. You're on public property.
Okay, you still can't.
I can. Are you a citizen of the United States?
No.
You're not a citizen of the United States?
No.
Interesting. You're not a citizen of the United States?
I'm not.
And you're trying to get American citizens to petition for something? IP28, guys, look at that. She just admitted on camera that she's not a citizen of the United States.
Yes.
And you are.
And I'm not a citizen. And the COVID was spread by them bats. It was actually the pangolin. I showed a picture of it. They're still maligning that beautiful little scaly animal. I mean, it might not be the kind of animal Kyle Cox might like on a Friday night, but it's a decent animal, and we shouldn't be maligning it.
I know. The pangolin's done nothing wrong. What do you got against the pangolin? Next is going to be pandas, the cute, fuzzy pandas. You hate those too just because it starts with a P? No, I mean, it's like when he was talking to the gal, it was like, I was like, first thing I would have said is, nice accent. Where are you from? The fact that she's not a citizen. I was like, she sounded almost Austrian. And I'm like, okay, good for you. But what are you doing gathering signatures? And the other thing is okay, isn't there a rule against that where you have to be like an Oregon, registered voter to collect signatures? You'd think that would at least do that. And how much are they getting paid? Why
Actually,
are they
Marty,
there?
you don't have to be a registered voter. You don't even have to be 18. I know this because I took my son. They had Civics Day, and there was like 3 different civic activities that the school offered, and all of them sucked. They were, something stupid like washing fat people because they're dirty. It was just, really weird. And so I said, no, I'm going to take my son, and we're going to do our own Civics Day, actually participate in in civics, in politics, in government. And so I took him out to collect petition signatures. But to do that, I called the Secretary of State's office, and I made sure that even though he wasn't a registered voter and that he was under 18, it was okay. And they said, yeah, pretty much anyone can get signatures.
Oh, okay. Well, now I know. I just assumed that. And once again, sometimes my assumptions are incorrect. And when I'm given updated information, I go, hey, you know what? I made a mistake. I was wrong. So therefore, I move on. I'm not so tied to a position one way or the other that it's like, I'm sorry. I know for a certain fact that you have to be a registered voter in Oregon to get petitions. You're just a lying rat bastard disinformation king.
But that's the difference between making it. Well, and you can't even say it's a mistake because the law changes so much. I may be telling you this, and this happened over 10 years ago.
Oh, there you
that
go.
law may have changed. I'm going to have to look it up now.
I actually asked the Secretary of State or one of the minions a couple of days ago. I said, I was under the impression that 10%, no more than 10% of your campaign funds can come from out of district. So, if you're running for county clerk, you can't get money more than 10% out of the county. And they said, actually, we can't enforce that anymore because it was deemed, it was struck down by the Supreme Court or something. Right. And they said, so that's no longer a thing. Because I was looking into, Brecky got like $21,000 in donations for this primary. And then I broke it down by, through what county? Oddly enough, there's like $11,000 in donations that came through with absolutely no name and address on them because they were, quote unquote, donations of less than $100 that just get thrown into a big pile. So they don't have to, they don't break it down by names and addresses. But of the ones that had names and addresses, 12% came from out of county. The Multnomah County clerk donated to her election campaign. So,
wait a minute. Yeah. The Multnomah County clerk donated to Julie Brecky. Hello, folks. For all of you who voted for Julie, that right there should have been a sign that this lady is a problem. The Multnomah County clerk donated to Julie Brecky's. Of course, she's probably going to call me up and say that's disinformation.
Well, I downloaded it from Orastar. So if Orastar is wrong, I'm just quoting with the government information I'm giving. So if the Secretary of State is giving me bad voter rolls, well, we have problems. If Orastar is giving me bad data, we have problems.
The government should come out with the word allegedly on all their documents. They'll just say the word allegedly. Hopefully they'll spell it correctly. 2 L's. Who knew there was 2 L in allegedly?
Yeah. Sort of like a Legion airline. But anyway.
Well, Thanks for joining me, Marty. We'll have to do this next weekend. If you got any ideas, let me know of any guests that you want to throw on here. I sent a message. Do you remember the guy Conspiratard?
Yeah.
Okay, he was the one who filmed at that all ages tranny show.
Oh, yeah, that thing. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'd asked him if he wanted to come on the show. This was probably about a month or so ago, and I guess he had finally commented and said, "Yeah, I think I'm ready to come on the show." So I'm going to see if maybe he wants to come on and put some of his videos on, because he's been up in Salem and Oregon City and Portland filming all kinds of different things. So I think he would be entertaining to have on here.
Yeah, one of these days I need to figure out how to get videos played from my end to actually have the audio
to have
everyone to hear. Yeah, because I could hear it just fine. But yeah,
we'll
Pratt
work on that.
Yeah, the Pratt video is actually pretty interesting, because I'm not on the campaign anymore, so I can basically tell all these people what I think of them, and it was great. It was a 3.5-minute video where at the end of it, it's like, if you think I'm going to stop, you're going to have to, and then it cuts to a video of, you're going to have to kill me, of some clip from a movie. But he was intercutting with all these movies and WWF people, so it was a great video. I'll have to send you the link. It's on X.
All right. I saw it. I didn't see the actual video, but I saw it in a thread when it was going by. There's so much. There's so much on social media, man. It was like, it was hard to figure out what I was going to put on the air tonight. And so it was Rob. I know he was all worked up about this guy, Kyle Cox. And why wouldn't you? I mean, why wouldn't you be? You put out this information so that people know. And of course, people attack you because they want to defend the guilty instead of defending the innocent. That's mind blowing.
Yes. Suicidal empathy is driving me insane.
Yes. Gad sad. Have you read that book? Have you gotten that?
I'm about halfway through it, and man, does that guy go out of his way to use like huge words. I mean, all the time. I mean, I normally don't have an issue chewing through big words, but there's some of them where I'm like, I'm reading it, I have to stop and go, ontological. I'm like, I think that's it. And then I have to look it up, and I'm like, wow. So, and then he kind of just goes off on rants about, anti-Semitism this, anti-Semitism that, and so I can skip pages at a time, but I'm clipping through about 30 pages a day. So yeah,
good. Very good.
I'm reading it. It's
good,
entertaining.
You'll have to come in and do a book review next week. And I want to thank Rain. I want to thank Marilyn. Let's see. I want to thank Steve. I think he kicked out of here earlier. I want to thank Hezekiah, Craig, and C. Coasty, and Ashley, who kicked out of here earlier, and Corey Meyer. All of you, thank you for joining us. It's been a great time.
Steve was on for a while. Ashley was on the quotes for a while. Yeah, we had a whole bunch of people in the comments section tonight, so that was a good thing.
That was a good thing. All right, folks.
So, thanks for having me on the show. Once again, a lot of entertainment, a lot of enjoyment. And, it's like, hey, how are we going to fill 2.5 hours? And then we get to the end of 2.5 hours and they're like, hey, it's 2.5 hours already? How'd that happen?
Totally get it. I get to sleep in. I'm not like Doug Washington. He's going to be up at 4 a.m. because he's one of those morning guys. I'm going to sleep in. I'm
off to Brookings tomorrow. So
you're fishing?
No. I wish. No fishing.
Oh well. Good.
I'm strategizing.
Very good. Remember, leave the dogs alone. LOL. Yeah, leave the dogs alone. You really don't have to tell me that. I've never had to. You'll never find. Well, I guess dogs don't tell those tales.
Yeah, exactly. That's the nice thing about dogs. They don't tell on you.
Yeah, maybe that's why he's into bestiality, because there's no one going to talk afterwards. It's like, oh wow, that's so sick. It's so sick. And
wasn't that a Pink Floyd song? Hey, teacher, leave those dogs alone.
And on that note,
another dog in the wall.
Just another dog in the wall. Oh, geez. That's, we got some really sick people here in this county. And I just, like I said, I think I know why so many people defend them, because so many people are related to them, are friends with them. And yeah, totally. All right, Marty, I'll see you next week. We'll come up with something. And everyone, I want to thank you for joining us. I will see you next week. And until then, carry on, Coos County. Carry on. Oh, where's the music? Shit, I was going to hit the music and it was going to be cool, but that didn't happen.